Chapter 988. Qin Haodong hurried over to support her and asked with concern, "How are you? Are you all right?" Niu Tsuehua shook her head and wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. A smug look flashed across Li Mingyao's face as she said to the people around her, "Everyone saw it. Am I right? The Nether Ghost Claw is a move that only people from the Ghost King sect can use. Judging from her cultivation, her position in the sect is definitely not low." A look of astonishment flashed across Luo Dongqing's face. He was very familiar with the moves of the Ghost King sect, and Niu Tsuehua's move actually gave him a familiar feeling. At the same time, he was extremely puzzled. How did Qin Haodong get involved with the Ghost King sect? A look of viciousness flashed across Lu Hong's face as he said to the people present, "The Ghost King sect is hated by both humans and gods. This woman is the demoness of the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong's collusion with the Ghost King sect is also unforgivable. Let the four kingdoms join forces and eliminate both of them. Kill them and everyone from the Ghost King sect will be punished. Colluding with the Ghost King sect at such a young age, he will definitely be a great disaster in the future. Eliminate him quickly." Apart from the people from the Black Tortoise Academy, everyone present was calling for a beating. A look of satisfaction flashed across Yu Wanren's eyes. He was only a substitute in this exchange and did not even have the chance to fight. He had long hated Qin Haodong to the core. He sneered inwardly, "Let's see what you can do this time. Even old man Luo can't help you now that you're involved with the Ghost King sect." Li Mingyao shouted coldly, "Do it." With that, she led her people to besiege Qin Haodong and Niu Tsuehua. Although Niu Tsuehua was strong, there were 3 Mahayana stage experts and countless form synthesis stage experts. This kind of strength was definitely not something they could contend against. The little she-devil shouted anxiously, "Grandpa, we can't watch little brother be bullied." Luo Dongqing's expression changed, but he finally said, "Girl, you have to behave. This concerns the Ghost King sect, the Black Tortoise Academy cannot help." "Wait a minute." At this moment, Murong Jinghong stood out, "Everyone, I have to clarify this matter. Qin Haodong was definitely wronged. He has nothing to do with the Ghost King sect." Li Mingyao said with a cold smile, "Things are already in front of you. What else do you have to say?" "I'm not quibbling. I'm just stating a fact." Although Murong Jinghong seemed indifferent, he was actually extremely intelligent and knew that the situation today was extremely grim. In order to protect Qin Haodong, she had to tell the truth. She started from how Qin Haodong was taken away by the great elder of the Ghost King sect at the Suzaku Spirit Spring, and briefly told the whole story. "I think you all know that this is the case. Junior brother Qin Haodong has nothing to do with the Ghost King sect. On the contrary, he suffered from it." After listening to his story, everyone was shocked. Murong Jinghong's story was even more bizarre than a story, yet no one could find any flaws in it. Niu Tsuehua was originally holding hands with Qin Haodong. After hearing Murong Jinghong's words, she said nervously, "Husband, is what she said true? Am I really the great elder of Ghost King sect? Are you really not my husband and I'm not your wife?" At this moment, she was extremely nervous and her body was trembling slightly. She was not like this even when she was facing the 2 masters at the Deshang stage. In her eyes, Qin Haodong was her whole world, but now everything was going to be lost. Everything was fake. Looking at her heartbroken eyes, Qin Haodong couldn't bear to see her like this. Anyway, Niu Tsuehua had been sincere to him during the time they spent together. She had given all her feelings to him. Li Mingyao thought for a moment and said, "Maybe what you said is true, but Qin Haodong and the witch of the Ghost King sect killed our vice dean Li Tianba together. We have to settle this score." She had already determined that Li Tianba's death must have something to do with Qin Haodong and Niu Tsuehua. But at this moment, Niu Tsuehua's tearful eyes flashed with determination. She pushed Qin Haodong away and said, "I killed Li Tianba. It has nothing to do with Qin Haodong. If you want revenge, come to me alone." Li Mingyao said, "You killed him alone. How can I believe you?" Niu Tsuehua said, "Why not? Qin Haodong is only at the middle stage of the form synthesis. How could he be a match for a master at the Deshang stage? I killed Li Tianba alone." Seeing that the great elder of Ghost King sect had abandoned her to protect Qin Haodong, Luo Dongqing was secretly surprised. But at this time he naturally stood up to protect Qin Haodong. He said, "Everyone, we are all warriors. Of course, we know that a master at the form synthesis stage can't cause any substantial damage to a master at the Deshang stage, so I think this is credible." The others nodded. Although many people did not like Qin Haodong, the fact was that a master at the form synthesis stage could not break the genuine chi of a master at the Deshang stage. A fierce look flashed in Li Mingyao's eyes. Since the witch said she did it alone, then let's kill her first to avenge the vice dean. After that she waved her hand. Li Tianxiong and Li Tianque rushed up again. Lu Xiaofu hesitated for a moment and finally joined the battle. The three of them joined forces to deal with Niu Tsuehua. Niu Tsuehua looked at Qin Haodong with great reluctance. Then she raised her hand and pushed him dozens of meters away to meet the three people. Seeing that look, Qin Haodong felt pain in his heart as if it was cut by a knife. But he could do nothing. After all, his identity as a member of the Ghost King sect could not be cleared. It was not an exaggeration to say that the sky and earth changed color when four masters at the Deshang stage fought. The huge air wave pushed everyone 100 meters away. In terms of strength, Li Tianxiong, Li Tianque and Lu Xiaofu had an absolute advantage. But each of them knew how terrible the dying strike of a master at the Deshang stage was. It would at least seriously injure them. So everyone was careful and did not rush to launch the final attack. Instead, they slowly consumed Niu Tsuehua's strength. As the fight went on, Niu Tsuehua's injuries became more and more serious. She spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and her face became paler. The robe on her body was torn by the strong qi, and her hair was scattered. She looked miserable with a trace of fierceness. At this moment, Li Tianxiong hit her in the face. Niu Tsuehua turned her head and dodged. Unfortunately, she was still a little too slow. The strong wind rolled the green flower on her head out and it fell on the ground more than 10 meters away. In the eyes of others, this was just a trivial matter, but Niu Tsuehua's expression changed greatly. "My Tsuehua." With a shrill cry, she suddenly pounced towards the little green flower, not even caring about Li Tianque's palm strike from behind. When she grabbed the little green flower in her hand, Li Tianque gave her a solid pat on the back. Niu Tsuehua opened her mouth and spat out a big mouthful of blood, dyeing the whole flower in her hand red. But she seemed to have lost consciousness. She cried with a sad expression, "My Tsuehua, none of you can hurt it. This is my Tsuehua." As she spoke, she stuffed the flower into her mouth and swallowed it. "This is my Tsuehua. Even if I die, you can't hurt it." After saying that, she smiled sadly and looked at the man again with her eyes full of sadness and reluctance. Everything she did, even at the cost of her life to protect her love, was all for Qin Haodong. Seeing this scene, Tu Jiaojiao, Fang Qiong and the other girls felt sad and could not help crying. Although the woman in front of them was the first elder of the Ghost King sect, her sincere love was absolutely touching. Demon, go to hell. Li Tianxiong saw the opportunity. A shining dagger suddenly appeared in his hand and he stabbed it at Niu Tsuehua's heart. At the same time, Li Tianque also hit Niu Tsuehua's back with his palm. Qin Haodong stood there dumbfounded. Everything that happened between him and Niu Tsuehua flashed in his mind like a movie. "Husband, do you love me? I love you so much. Husband, I'm so scared. I'm afraid that I'll lose you one day. Husband, can you pluck it for me? Didn't you say that my name is Tsuehua? That flower is emerald green. It suits me perfectly." At this moment he felt a heart-wrenching pain in his heart. No, he could not let this woman die for him, no matter whether she was Niu Tsuehua or the first elder of the Ghost King sect. Thinking of this, Qin Haodong's eyes flashed with determination. He used the Qi Men transposition skill. Seeing that the dagger in his hand was about to pierce the woman's chest, Li Tianxiong felt a sense of relief. Li Tianba was his younger brother, and now he could finally avenge him. However, at this moment, the dagger in his hand pierced the air. There was no feeling of flesh at all. Moreover, the scene in front of him changed. He could no longer see Niu Tsuehua. He was standing hundreds of meters away. What's going on? Before he could figure out what had happened, Qin Haodong had already held Niu Tsuehua in his arms and dodged Li Tianque's palm with all his strength. He had dodged the palm, but Li Tianque was a Mahayana stage expert. The wind from the palm still landed on his back. Qin Haodong felt his chest heat up and he spat out a mouthful of blood. However, he did not dare to stay. He used his mind and hid in the 7th stage pagoda with Niu Tsuehua. What's going on? Where are they? Li Tianxiong and the others were shocked. How did the two of them suddenly disappear? They spread out their divine senses and searched the area within 1,000 meters, but they still could not find them. Bastards, search them all. We can't let them escape. I want to see them alive and I want to see their corpses. Li Mingyao ordered the guards behind her, and they immediately started searching the area within a 5-kilometer radius. Although Murong Jinghong had cleared Qin Haodong's name, she had already guessed that this man would definitely not watch Niu Tsuehua die. He would definitely send her over. Everything had gone according to her plan, but unfortunately the final outcome had changed. Now the two of them had disappeared and no one knew where they were hiding. At the same time, a bad feeling rose in her heart. If she could not kill Qin Haodong and Niu Cuihua today, her days in the future would not be easy. Lu Hong looked at Luo Dongqing. Dean Luo, your student is still involved with the witch from the Ghost King sect. Seeing that Qin Haodong had escaped, Luo Dongqing heaved a sigh of relief and said, unfortunately, I had no choice. Actually, this student has only joined our school for a short time, so I don't know much about him. Li Mingyao said, no matter what, he is still a student of your school. You should know him well. How did they escape just now? Luo Dongqing did not know the secret of the 7th-stage pagoda, but the little witch Luo Hongying and the others knew it very well. They had entered it more than once. At this moment Tu Jiaojiao said, I know where they went. Chapter 989. The little she-devil hurriedly shouted, Sister Jiaojiao, what are you doing? How could you betray little brother? The eldest prince, Lu Hong, said angrily, Qin Haodong is now colluding with the Ghost King sect's witch. Are you going to protect him? First Prince is right. Since he is related to the Ghost King sect, there is no need for us to hide anything from him. Tu Jiaojiao winked at the little witch and said, Qin Haodong once told us that he has the ability to teleport himself hundreds of miles away. However, this kind of ability consumes a great deal of true essence, and even consumes one's own true essence. Generally, unless there is no other choice, one will not use it. Li Mingyao said in disbelief, teleportation of 100 miles? Is that true? I'm afraid that even masters of the Deshang stage can't do it, right? Tu Jiaojiao didn't have a good impression of this woman and said coldly, anyway, I've already said it. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. The little she-devil understood Tu Jiaojiao's intention and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Then she said, it's up to you to believe it or not. Anyway, we've already said it. From the bottom of her heart, Li Mingyao didn't really believe Tu Jiaojiao and the others. But apart from the teleportation theory, they really couldn't find any reason for Qin Haodong's disappearance. After secretly discussing with Lu Hong, she said to the people around her, expand the search scope immediately. We must find the boy surnamed Qin. Lu Hong said to the people of the 4 academies, everyone, I'm sorry. Such a big thing happened today. The people of the Ghost King sect suddenly appeared, so we can only temporarily stop using the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. Everyone please go back first. No one had any objections to this and they all dispersed. The little she-devil said, Sister Jiaojiao, you are really smart. You know how to use this method to divert their attention. Tu Jiaojiao said, there's no other way. You know the characteristics of the 7th-stage pagoda. If we don't lure them away, there will be trouble when Haodong comes out. Murong Jinghong said worriedly, I saw Haodong vomiting blood. I don't know if he's seriously injured. Is he in danger? Yun Qianshan said, he should be fine. His medical skills are so good and no one will disturb him there. He will recover from his injury. Luo Dongqing was confused and asked, what are you talking about? Why can't I understand a single word? It's only right that you don't understand. Of course, the little witch would not tell Qin Haodong's secret, not even to her own grandfather. She said, don't interrupt the children's conversation, old man. You damn girl, are you trying to rebel? Luo Dongqing glared at the little she-devil and said to Tu Jiaojiao and the others, you guys know where that kid went, right? The girls didn't say anything and just nodded. He said again, well, since he's not in danger, let's go back to Black Tortoise Academy first. The little she-devil shouted, how can we do that? We haven't found little big brother yet, how can we go back by ourselves? Luo Dongqing said angrily, do you think they will just let it go if they can't find him? Those people will definitely be watching us secretly. If you go and meet up with him now, not only will you not be able to help, you will also be harming him. The little demoness wanted to retort, but she felt that her grandfather's words made sense. Tu Jiaojiao said, the dean is right. We can't help here. On the contrary, it will make it easier for him to be exposed. Let's go back to Black Tortoise Academy first. Everyone made up their minds. Murong Jinghong said to He Ziwei, Miss He, things are done here. We'll go back to Black Tortoise Kingdom first. He Ziwei said worriedly, can you tell me where he is? Murong Jinghong said, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. Even if I tell you, you won't be able to find him. You just need to know that he's safe now. Well, we'll meet again if we have a chance. Although He Ziwei was worried, there was no other way. She could only say goodbye to everyone and return to the general's mansion. Luo Dongqing took everyone and flew in the direction of Black Tortoise Academy. Qin Haodong fainted as soon as he entered the 7-order pagoda. The palm of a Deshang stage master was extremely powerful. Although it did not directly hit his back, it still caused him severe internal injuries. If Li Qinghua's palm had hit his back, he would have been dead by now. After an unknown period of time, he slowly opened his eyes. He was lying in the pagoda while Niu Tsuehua sat quietly beside him. At this time, Niu Tsuehua seemed to have recovered a lot from her injuries. Her delicate face was clean and her hair was meticulously combed. She looked extremely beautiful. However, Qin Haodong was secretly surprised when he saw her. Niu Tsuehua was like a different person. She exuded a powerful aura and her eyes became sharper. "You're awake?" Niu Tsuehua looked at him with a strange expression. Qin Haodong moved slightly but he felt pain all over his body. His internal injuries had not recovered yet. Niu Tsuehua looked at him with a playful expression and said, "Husband, when are you going to marry me?" Looking at her eyes, Qin Haodong's heart trembled and he exclaimed, "You've recovered your memory?" At the same time he also understood what was going on. At the end of the battle, Niu Tsuehua had swallowed the flower of the Soul Awakening grass. The Soul Awakening grass had healed her damaged spirit and restored her memory. Niu Tsuehua said, "I didn't expect you to be so playful. You actually said that I'm your wife and you're my husband. You even took advantage of me. Do you think I should kill you now?" As she spoke, she exuded a powerful aura. It was as if she had become the great elder of the Ghost King sect again. Qin Haodong was shocked. What he was worried about had happened. He hurriedly operated the genuine qi in his body. Unfortunately, his internal injuries had not recovered yet. Under the attack of the qi and blood, he spat out another mouthful of blood. Seeing him spit out blood, Niu Tsuehua quickly said with concern, "Husband, are you okay? I was just playing with you. Have a good rest and don't affect your internal injuries." "Playing with you?" Qin Haodong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, looked at her in surprise and said, "You haven't recovered your memory?" Niu Tsuehua helped him lie down slowly and then said, "I've recovered. I caught you from the Xuanwu Kingdom. I originally wanted to force you to tell me how to improve your cultivation quickly, but I ended up falling into your trap." Qin Haodong said in surprise, "Then why did you?" In his heart, he had been pretending to be the husband of the great elder during this period of time and had kissed this woman several times. Logically speaking, the great elder should have been furious and wanted to kill him, but now it seemed that this was not the case. Niu Tsuehua sighed and sat down beside him. "Although I've recovered my previous memory, I still have the memory of being with you during this period of time. If it were in the past, I would definitely kill you, but now." Speaking of this, she turned to look at Qin Haodong. "Do you love me or not?" Qin Haodong didn't know how to answer for a moment. He didn't know what kind of feelings he had for Niu Tsuehua. "In fact, I know even if you don't tell me. At the critical moment you can sacrifice your life for me. This has already given me the answer." A strange smile appeared on Niu Tsuehua's face. "It's really fate that makes fools of people. It's also an ill-fated relationship between us. I always thought that I would not fall in love with any man, but after I met you, I completely fell for you. Although I've recovered my memory now, some things can't be changed. Whether I admit it or not, whether I have the previous memory or not, you are the only man I have ever called my husband, the only man I have ever kissed, and the only man I have ever loved." Qin Haodong listened quietly, and a strong sense of love rose in his heart. Only then did he realize that he had also fallen in love with this woman, but he had been suppressed by the fear of the great elder of the Ghost King sect. Niu Tsuehua looked at him again and said, "There is a tradition in our hometown that women will never remarry and will never fall in love with two men in their lifetime. Now I have two choices, either to kill you or to make you my husband. What do you think I should choose?" Qin Haodong said, "Since you asked this, then you already have the answer. Although you have a lot of women, you know a girl's mind very well." Niu Tsuehua reached out to touch his cheek and said, "When facing those people, I could die for you. Although I've recovered my memory now, it's the same. You are still the person I love the most. How can I be willing to kill you? In this case, I can only make you my husband. It's a pity that your body is too weak now. Take the time to recover." Qin Haodong's heart was full of emotion and his eyes became hot. He kept walking up and down Niu Tsuehua's sexy body. "Do you mean as long as my injury is healed?" Niu Tsuehua's cheeks turned red. She said, "Last time I took the initiative to come to you but you didn't want me. Now I won't let you go." Qin Haodong took her hand and said, "At that time I was afraid that you would regret it after you recovered your memory." Niu Tsuehua said, "Now you don't even have the chance to regret it." After that, the two of them recuperated in the slaughter tower together. 3 days later, their injuries were completely healed. Qin Haodong took Niu Tsuehua's hand and said, "Do you think those people are still waiting outside?" Although 3 days had passed, he did not dare to go out casually. If he fell into the hands of Li Tianxiong and the others again, he would not be able to escape. "I don't care about them. Anyway, I can't wait," Niu Tsuehua said as she turned over and pressed Qin Haodong under her body. "No matter what happens outside, no matter what happens in the future, I want you to be my husband today. Otherwise, if you run away one day, I will suffer a great loss. I have a husband, but I'm not a real woman." After saying that, she waved her hands and soon their clothes flew to the side. For a moment, the room in the 7th-stage pagoda was filled with spring. After a long time, the clouds and rain stopped. Qin Haodong held Niu Tsuehua tightly in his arms. "By the way, you haven't told me your name yet." Niu Tsuehua lay on his chest and said, "Didn't you already give me a name, Niu Tsuehua?" That's not very good. The name is a bit too old-fashioned. It doesn't match you. What was your original name?" Qin Haodong had just said such a name casually. It was a bit of a prank. At that time, he had never thought that the great elder of the Ghost King sect would become his woman. Niu Tsuehua said, "I think that's a good name. It has a special meaning for us. I won't change it in the future. I'll be called Niu Tsuehua." "Okay then." Qin Haodong said helplessly, "What's your plan? Will you return to the Ghost King sect in the future?" Niu Tsuehua said, "Why? Do you want to get rid of me so soon?" Qin Haodong said, "No, I'm just a little worried that your identity will affect us being together." "Of course it will." Tsuehua said, "I'm afraid my brother won't agree to marry a poor boy like you." Qin Haodong said, "Stop it. You don't have a brother. I made that up." Niu Tsuehua looked up at him with a teasing expression and said, "You're right. I do have a brother, Li Tianxing, the master of the Ghost King sect." Chapter 990. The news was like thunder exploding in Qin Haodong's ears. It took him a long time to come to his senses. "Ah, are you sure you mean it?" Niu Tsuehua said, "Of course it's true. Otherwise, how do you think I became the first elder of the Ghost King sect? Isn't it because of your high cultivation that you became the great elder?" Niu Tsuehua shook her head. "In terms of cultivation, the second elder and the third elder are higher than me. The reason why I'm ranked first is that my brother is the master of the sect. Will he agree to let us be together? What do you think?" "Of course not." "Ah." Qin Haodong was speechless. He didn't expect that the story he made up would eventually come true. The first elder of the Ghost King sect did become his wife, and she really had a powerful brother who didn't agree with this marriage. At the same time, he also understood why Niu Tsuehua could be as pure as a lotus in a place like the Ghost King sect. It turned out that she had such a powerful backer. Looking at his shocked and helpless expression, Niu Tsuehua smiled and said, "You don't have to worry. The reason why I was the first elder of the Ghost King sect was that I had nothing to do, so I played with my brother. Now that I have you as my husband, I don't want to be the first elder of the Ghost King sect anymore. I'll go wherever you go in the future." Qin Haodong calmed himself down and said with a smile, "Aren't you afraid that I'll sell you?" Niu Tsuehua kissed him on the cheek and said, "You risked your life to get me back. Are you willing to do that?" "Of course not." Qin Haodong held her in his arms and said, "But you have to change your appearance in the future. At the same time, you can't use the Ghost King sect's nether ghost claw anymore. Otherwise it will be easy to be discovered." It was a very embarrassing thing to be with the first elder of the Ghost King sect. They couldn't be discovered by the people of the Four Kingdoms or the Ghost King sect. Otherwise it would cause endless trouble. Niu Tsuehua said, "Okay, whatever you say. I'll listen to you." "Really? Then let's challenge a difficult position such as a split." Qin Haodong turned over and pressed Niu Tsuehua under his body. Once again he did something indescribable. In the following period of time, Qin Haodong chose some martial arts moves suitable for Niu Tsuehua and taught them to her. When they were free they would make love together. Sweet time always passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, a week had passed. Qin Haodong said, "We should go out and have a look. I don't think those people will stay here forever." Qin Haodong said, "Don't you want to go out as soon as possible?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't you want to go?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't you? Don's boring staying here all day. Don, don't you feel it? Chio's here. Real will. Don't worry. You're my wife no matter where we go. It's the same here and outside." Qin Haodong said, "There are still many things waiting for me to do outside. We have to go out eventually." "All right then, I'll listen to you. But before I leave this place I want to squeeze you dry." Niu Tsuehua pushed Qin Haodong to the ground again. 2 hours later, two figures suddenly appeared in the quiet night sky. They were Qin Haodong and Niu Tsuehua, who were hiding in the 7-stage pagoda. As soon as they appeared, they were on full alert. Qin Haodong even spread out his powerful spirit and cautiously scanned the surroundings. Soon, he found that it was quiet and there were no people from the 4 kingdoms guarding here. It seems that they've left. Niu Tsuehua breathed a sigh of relief. Although she had a high cultivation, she couldn't face 3 masters at the Deshang stage at the same time. Husband, let's get out of here. Qin Haodong said, since they've left, let's not rush. Niu Tsuehua put her arms around his neck and said, what are you going to do? You don't want to stay here with them, do you? Qin Haodong was speechless. This woman had tasted the sweetness of love and was never tired of the thing between men and women. The kingdom of Vermilion Bird made us suffer a lot this time. We have to earn some interest. Husband, I'll listen to you. What do you think we should do? Assassinate the king of the kingdom of Vermilion Bird? We won't get any benefits from killing people. There's no need to take such a big risk. Qin Haodong said, since we've already come to the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring, we can't come here for nothing. We have to cultivate well. Niu Tsuehua said, husband, that won't do. The Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring is heavily guarded. Once the spiritual qi in the spring changes, it will immediately attract the masters of the kingdom of Vermilion Bird. At that time, not to mention absorbing the spiritual qi, I'm afraid escaping will be a problem. It's okay. I've already thought of a way. Just come with me. Niu Tsuehua said, okay, I'll listen to you. Qin Haodong took Niu Tsuehua to a secluded place nearby. First, he made a simple disguise for them and changed their clothes. At this time, even if they met the little witch, they would not be able to recognize them. Everything was ready. Only then did they quietly approach the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. Qin Haodong's goal this time was not the small spirit spring next to the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring, but the main spirit spring. He wanted to see how much his cultivation would improve after absorbing the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. Just as Niu Tsuehua said, the closer they got to the spirit spring, the tighter the defense became. However, their cultivation was not something ordinary soldiers could detect. Soon they got closer and closer to the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. It was worthy of being one of the 4 spirit springs of the Lingwu continent. They could already feel the rich spiritual qi from a few miles away. At the center, the spiritual qi was almost condensed. With a casual breath, they could absorb a large amount of spiritual qi into their bodies. When they arrived at the side of the spirit spring, the two stopped. At the center of the spirit spring, there were no more guards. It was quiet all around. In the middle of the dense spiritual qi in front of them, there was a huge spirit pool with a radius of hundreds of square meters. The pool was not made of water but pure spiritual qi. From afar it looked like a huge piece of jade. It looked incomparably beautiful. Qin Haodong forcibly suppressed the urge to cultivate in his heart. He took out the formation flag from the storage ring and began to set up a formation around the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. Soon, a large illusion formation was set up. This illusion formation completely simulated the surrounding environment of the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. Even if there was no trace of spiritual qi inside, it would still look like it was surrounded by spiritual qi from the outside. After doing all this, Qin Haodong pulled Niu Tsuehua and the two flew to the top of the spirit pool. They sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. With the operation of greenwood genuine qi, the surrounding spiritual qi seemed to have found an exit. It rushed into his body like rivers flowing into the sea. The speed was thousands of times faster than usual. Moreover, the spiritual qi was extremely rich, as if it was inexhaustible. On the other side, Niu Tsuehua also entered a state of cultivation. She was now only one step away from the middle stage of Mahayana realm. She believed that she would soon be able to break through here. As time passed, Qin Haodong's body became more and more vigorous. With a crisp sound, he broke through to the late stage of the Unity realm. For an ordinary person, this was already a great improvement, but he did not stop and continued to adjust the genuine qi in his body to break through to the peak of the Unity realm. Both of them were wholeheartedly cultivating and did not notice the changes in the Vermilion Bird Spirit Pool. If there was someone standing next to them at this time, they would definitely be shocked. In the Vermilion Bird Spirit Pool, the pool water condensed by spiritual qi was actually decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 1 inch, 2 inches. As they absorbed more and more, the remaining pool water became less and less. As the pool water decreased, the surrounding spiritual qi also began to thin. However, due to the existence of the illusion formation, no change could be seen from the outside. It was still dense with spiritual qi. 2 kilometers away from the Vermilion Bird Spirit Pool, there was a bamboo building built on a small mound. Inside the bamboo building, a 40 or 50-year-old general was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. He was Wuxia, the chief person in charge of guarding the spirit spring. Guarding the Vermilion Bird Spirit Pool was definitely a good job. Usually there was nothing to do and he could cultivate in peace. Moreover, the spiritual qi here was rich, so the speed of cultivation was countless times faster than outside. Wuxia had used his relationship with the queen to get this good job that everyone envied. He had already reached the body integration great circle. As long as he cultivated for a period of time, he would definitely be able to break through the bottleneck of the Great Ascension stage. The Vermilion Bird Spirit Pool was extremely important to the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. The reason why only a body integration realm general was stationed here was because of the Spirit Spring's special characteristics. Once there was a change in the spiritual qi, it would immediately be sensed and a large number of experts would rush over. Wuxia was cultivating in peace when he suddenly felt that the density of the spiritual qi in the surroundings had decreased by a lot. His cultivation speed was also not as fast as usual. What's going on? Could it be that my condition today isn't good? He shook his head and ended his cultivation. Then he began to patrol the outside. He walked around the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring and found that everything was the same as usual. However, for some reason he had a bad feeling in his heart. What's going on? With doubts in his heart, he continued to walk around. Guarding the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring was a good job, but it also had a great responsibility. If something were to happen here, then even 10 heads wouldn't be enough to chop off. After walking around a few more times he was suddenly shocked. He finally felt that something was wrong. In the past, when he stood beside the Vermilion Bird Spirit Pool, even if he didn't cultivate, the spiritual qi would still rush into his body like a tide. However, he didn't feel that way today. The surrounding spiritual qi seemed to be dense and lingering, but it was all an illusion. In fact, it was much thinner than before. Not good, there's something wrong with the spirit spring. This is an illusion formation set up by someone. As a body integration realm expert, he had basic eyesight. He immediately realized what was going on. He took out a special whistling arrow from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom from his storage ring and shot it into the sky. After the whistling arrow rose into the sky, it made a crisp sound, and then a dazzling light illuminated half of the sky. In the spirit spring, Qin Haodong absorbed more and more spiritual qi. Finally, there was another loud bang in his body. His cultivation had broken through to the body integration realm. At the same time, a powerful aura suddenly spread out beside him. He opened his eyes and looked to the side. He saw that Wuxia's aura was getting stronger and stronger. It seemed that she had broken through to the middle Dashang stage. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. He had advanced by 2 levels and Wuxia had advanced by 1. It seemed that this trip was not in vain. At the same time, he also noticed that the spiritual qi here was much thinner than before. Looking down at his feet, the originally bottomless pool was only a foot deep. It was only a step away from drying up. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. The consumption of spiritual qi for 2 people to cultivate together was really huge. He naturally understood that he couldn't kill the goose that laid the golden eggs. He couldn't destroy the spirit spring for his own selfishness. Moreover, the remaining spirit spring wasn't enough for him to break through to the Dashang stage. Adding updates for Fat Cat rolling around. It's been a bit long. I owe you 1 chapter and 2 chapters. Chapter 991. At this time, Wuxia also slowly opened her eyes and looked at Qin Haodong with a sweet smile. Husband, your method is really good. I finally broke through to the middle stage of the Dashang realm. This time it's really profitable. Qin Haodong said, let's hurry up and leave. We've used up more than half of the spiritual spring this time. If we stay here for too long, it will definitely attract the attention of the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. So what? Now that they're here, I can take revenge for what I did to him. He actually beat my husband until he vomited blood. I'm going to break his bones. At this moment, Wuxia resumed the overbearing manner of Ghost King Sect Great Elder. The most important thing was that she had the confidence. At this moment she was already a master in the middle Dashang stage, and she did not put Lu Xiaofu and others in her eyes. Qin Haodong said, it's better for us to leave. Although you have broken through now, there must be masters at the middle stage of the Great Vehicle Realm in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. As the 2 of them were talking, the sky above their heads was suddenly illuminated by a whistling arrow. Qin Haodong's expression changed. No, they found us. Let's go. After saying that, the 2 of them quickly left the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring and arrived outside. Just as they left the illusion array, they saw Yu Wenshu and his men standing guard. "Brat, you actually dare to come to the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring to cause trouble? Go die." Yu Wenshu had already realized the seriousness of the problem. The Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring had suddenly lost so much spiritual energy, he would have to bear the wrath of the Vermilion Bird royal family. The most important thing right now was to capture the two people in front of him. Only then would there be hope of reducing the punishment. He roared and slashed at Qin Haodong with the long knife in his hand. A grain of rice dares to shine. After improving her cultivation, Niu Tsuehua was very heroic. She didn't need Qin Haodong to do anything at all. She just waved her sleeves, and Yu Wenshu flew back hundreds of meters like a fly that had been hit hard. A large part of his chest collapsed and he spat out mouthfuls of blood. One was in the great perfection of the void refining realm and the other was in the middle Deshang stage. The gap between the two was too big. "Who are you?" Looking at the two unfamiliar faces in front of him, Yu Wenshu didn't know when such experts had appeared in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Go ask the King of Hell. Growing up in the Ghost King sect, Niu Tsuehua had never been a soft-hearted person. Her gentleness only belonged to Qin Haodong. She raised two fingers and flicked them at Yu Wenshu. A sharp force instantly pierced through his chest, causing a stream of blood to spurt out. "Ah!" Yu Wenshu let out a blood-curdling scream as he fell to the ground with a plop. There was no need for the Vermilion Bird royal family to question him for he had already lost his life. Seeing that their commander was dead, the surrounding guards roared furiously and charged forward together. These people had been guarding the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring all year round. They usually practiced a set of joint attacks, and their combined power was astonishing. It was a pity that they were facing a master in the middle Deshang stage. The huge strength gap was not something that could be made up by the joint attack technique. "Die all of you." Niu Tsuehua was seriously injured by the joint attack, and Qin Haodong almost lost his life in order to save her. At this time he vented his anger on these guards. In the blink of an eye, the guards seemed to have been blown away. They flew back at a speed that was even faster than when they came, and there were countless casualties. Qin Haodong said, "Let's go, these people are just guards." The anger in Niu Tsuehua's heart calmed down a little. Just as the two of them were about to leave, suddenly dozens of figures rushed here and instantly surrounded them. "Where did this junior come from, daring to offend our Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring?" Qin Haodong frowned. There was really someone who took the initiative to rush over to die. The person who came was the Vice Dean of the Vermilion Bird Academy, Lu Xiaofu. The Vermilion Bird Academy was closer to the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring than the Vermilion Bird Royal City, so after receiving the alarm, Lu Xiaofu took the lead to rush over. But at this time, Qin Haodong and Niu Tsuehua had changed their appearances, so she did not recognize the two people in front of her. She did not know Niu Tsuehua, but Niu Tsuehua knew her. The anger that had just subsided in her heart instantly burned again. "Old woman, go to hell." Niu Tsuehua instantly came in front of Lu Xiaofu and raised her hand to smash out. One palm shot out, thunder rolled and thunder rumbled. Rushing Thunder Palm. This was the new move that Qin Haodong taught her, used to cover up the identity of the Ghost King sect. Although the Rushing Thunder Palm was not as smooth as the Nether Ghost Claw, Niu Tsuehua's cultivation level was there. The middle stage of the Deshang stage was already a level higher than Lu Xiaofu. Feeling the strong momentum of the other party, Lu Xiaofu was shocked. Where did the middle stage of the Deshang stage come from? At this time it was too late for her to hide. She could only clench her teeth and push out her palm. The two palms collided together and a muffled bang was heard, followed by a cracking sound. Lu Xiaofu's arm was abruptly broken. Niu Tsuehua did not stop after one move, and then lifted her leg and kicked Lu Xiaofu's lower abdomen. "Get out of here." This kick was full of power, directly breaking through Lu Xiaofu's body protection, kicking her hundreds of meters away, and fiercely hitting a cliff in the distance. Only to hear a loud bang, the dust flew and stones splashed. The Vice Dean of the Vermilion Bird Academy, a master of the Deshang stage, lost his breath for a while, and no one knew whether he was dead or alive. The people that Lu Xiaofu brought with her were already dumbfounded. This woman was too fierce. She actually defeated the Vice Dean in one move, and her attack was incomparably fierce. Where did this master come from? Just when these people were at a loss, dozens of figures flew from the direction of the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Those people were still dozens of miles away from here, but they could already feel their strong momentum. A middle stage of the Deshang stage with two early stage masters. The Vermilion Bird Kingdom really did have a middle stage master of the Deshang stage. Qin Haodong knew that they could not stay here any longer, or else the masters of the Vermilion Bird Kingdom would be more and more, and they would be trapped here. He said to Niu Tsuehua, "Don't be obsessed with fighting, let's go." Niu Tsuehua pulled Qin Haodong and was just about to leave, but the speed of the other side's master of the Deshang stage was too fast, and they had already arrived in front of them like a meteor. The leader was an old man with white hair and beard. After arriving in front of the two of them without saying a word, a big hand made of true qi grabbed the two of them. Niu Tsuehua did not show weakness, and quickly turned her true qi into a huge iron fist to meet it. There was only an earth-shattering noise, and the head-on collision of the two masters of the Deshang stage suddenly sounded like a bomb exploding here, and the violent qi of heaven and earth blew the surrounding people like fallen leaves. Although Niu Tsuehua had reached the middle stage of the Deshang stage, she had just entered this realm not long ago, and compared with the old man she was still a little worse. She grabbed Qin Haodong's belt with one hand, and kept flying back hundreds of meters. "Go!" Qin Haodong shouted. He knew that this was the best chance to escape, and if they did not leave now, it would really be too late. Niu Tsuehua tasted the strength of the other side, and no longer continued to fight. She grabbed Qin Haodong and turned into a stream of light, speeding away into the distance. Unexpectedly, he is also in the middle stage of the Deshang stage. The white-haired old man's face flashed a touch of fierceness, and he shouted to the two middle stage masters beside him, "Chase me, this kind of person must not be left alive." Then the three people quickly chased in the direction of Qin Haodong's escape. Qin Haodong's cultivation was only at the form synthesis stage, and compared with the masters of the Deshang stage, he was still too slow, and he was carried by Niu Tsuehua. But in this way his speed was more or less affected, and the three people behind him were getting closer and closer. If he was really surrounded by three masters of the Deshang stage, he was afraid that today would be really troublesome and more masters from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom would come. Niu Tsuehua said with some embarrassment, "Husband, it's all my fault. It would have been better if I had not entangled with those people." "Don't talk about the past." Qin Haodong knew that the urgent task was to stop the three people behind him, so he said, "Fly steadily with me and try not to shake up and down." Niu Tsuehua agreed and tried to fly as fast and as stable as possible. At this time, Qin Haodong turned around and took out the anti-material sniper rifle from the storage ring. This Barrett anti-material sniper rifle weighed 28 kilograms, and ordinary people had to put it on the ground to use. But Qin Haodong was different. He was a master at the peak of the form synthesis stage, and this weight was not much different from a toothpick in his hand. The three people behind saw Qin Haodong turn around, and there was a strange thing in his hand. The bearded man on the left asked, "What is this kid holding? It looks strange." The white-haired old man gritted his teeth and said, "Why do you care so much? They destroyed our Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring, and today these two people must die." After reaching the middle stage of the Deshang stage, his spirit was extremely powerful. Although he had just stayed in the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring for a short time, he had already felt how serious the loss of spiritual qi there was. The Spirit Spring was the foundation of a kingdom, and even the Vermilion Bird royal family was reluctant to use it excessively. Today more than half of it was used up, which made him extremely angry. The thin and tall man on the right said, "Don't worry, Great Elder, this kid can't run away." As he was speaking, he heard a muffled bang in the air, and then a sharp pain came from his left leg. Originally, with the strength of his protective genuine qi, even a sniper rifle bullet blessed by the mysterious evil condensing furnace could not break it. It was a pity that most of the genuine qi in his body was used to fly at high speed, so the protective genuine qi was naturally much weaker. Qin Haodong seized the opportunity and shot his left knee. "What is this? I'm injured?" The tall and thin old man was shocked. He had a respected status in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom, and he had never been injured since he entered the Deshang stage. Moreover, the protective genuine qi of the Deshang stage was extremely strong, and even a treasure sword could not break it. He didn't know what the young man was holding in his hand. After being injured, he hurriedly operated the genuine qi in his body and raised the strength of the protective genuine qi to the extreme. However, this naturally slowed down and he fell behind the other two people. The bearded man was also shocked and said, "Great Elder, what should we do? What are you afraid of? I don't believe that he can still succeed when we are prepared." As soon as the white-haired old man finished speaking, there was another muffled bang, and a bloody hole appeared on the bearded man's left shoulder. It turned out that in this state of high-speed flight, they could not resist the lethality of the Barrett sniper rifle. This time the bearded old man was also afraid. Fortunately, this thing hurt his shoulder. If it was his head, it would be over. He hurriedly adjusted the protective genuine qi to the strongest, and the speed of the chase immediately slowed down. In fact, Qin Haodong could shoot the two people in the head with one shot, but that was bound to make the white-haired old man fight to the death. That was a strong man in the middle stage of the Deshang stage. Even if he had a sniper rifle in his hand, he could not compete with the other party. The white-haired old man's eyes flashed a touch of astonishment. He had lived for hundreds of years, and he had never seen an artifact that hurt people in this way. Just as he was in a daze, there was another muffled bang. A golden sniper rifle bullet flew toward his chest. Chapter 992. The speed of the bullet was too fast. Even if he wanted to dodge, it was too late. However, having learned his lesson from the previous incident, the white-haired old man immediately reacted and quickly strengthened his protective jinqi. After a bang, the sniper rifle bullet hit his chest. The sniper rifle bullet hit his chest, but it was blocked by the tyrannical protective jinqi, and only left a bloody mark on his skin. Although a bloody mark was nothing to a Mahayana expert, it was enough to make the white-haired old man pale with fright. In other words, if he didn't react in time, this strange thing could hurt him. While he was distracted, Niu Tsuehua had already brought Qin Haodong far away. The two figures disappeared into the dark night. Soon the two were 100 miles away. After confirming that it was safe, Niu Tsuehua let out a long sigh. Improving her cultivation was a good thing, but it wasn't invincible. The four kingdoms of the Lingwu continent all had their own deep foundations. After stopping, she asked, "Husband, where are we going next?" She wasn't going back to the Ghost King sect. She wanted to stay by Qin Haodong's side. "Let's go to the Azure Dragon Kingdom. That girl Li Mingyao gave us so much trouble. We have to get some interest from them." Niu Tsuehua said, "That's a good suggestion. Those two old men hurt me. I have to take revenge." Qin Haodong said, "But before we go to the Azure Dragon Kingdom, we have to go to He Zhanghai's house and say goodbye to Ziwei. No matter what, he was the man Ziwei chose for the contest. He couldn't just leave without saying anything." Niu Tsuehua said, "But we made such a big scene in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Is it safe to go back now?" "It's okay. In my hometown there's a saying, it's dark under the light. The more dangerous the place, the safer it is. Right now, the entire Vermilion Bird Kingdom is at the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. The royal city is the safest place." After saying that, the two turned around and flew in the direction of the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Although it was late at night, Ziwei was still sitting in front of the window, unable to sleep. After meeting Qin Haodong, she thought she had found the most important person in her life. But in the end, Qin Haodong mysteriously disappeared from the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. She just heard that something big happened at the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. He Zhanghai brought people there. She didn't know if it had anything to do with Qin Haodong. "Where are you? Is it safe? How are you doing?" Just as she was muttering to herself, there was a sudden commotion in the general's mansion. Sounds of fighting and cursing could be heard continuously. What was going on? Someone actually invaded the general's mansion? Puzzled, he came to the door and saw that the guards of the prince's mansion had suffered heavy casualties. Dozens of men in black stood in the courtyard. The leader was a man in black with a golden mask. He exuded a powerful aura. He had reached the early Deshang stage. Ziwei was very familiar with these people. They were from the Ghost King sect. It seems like these people took advantage of the situation at the Black Tortoise Spirit Spring to launch a sneak attack on the general manor. "Little girl, it's best if you come out by yourself." The golden-masked man looked at Ziwei and said, "I think you know why we are here. I am the 7th elder of the Ghost King sect. Hand over the black demon bead and we will spare your life." Ziwei said, "I don't know what the black demon pearl is and I don't have it in my hands." "Little girl, this is very unwise. It will anger me." The 7th elder's figure flashed and appeared in front of Ziwei. He reached out and strangled her neck. There was a great disparity in cultivation between the two. In the face of an expert of the Deshang stage, Ziwei had no ability to resist. "Little girl, killing you is like crushing an ant." The 7th elder let go of her neck and said coldly, "I will give you one more chance. Hurry up and hand over the black demon bead." Ziwei said, I said I don't have it. Even if you kill me, you won't have it." "We have received accurate news that He Changqing has handed over the black demon bead to you." The 7th elder said in a cold voice, "I will now count to 3. If you don't hand over the black demon bead, I will immediately strip you naked. If you still refuse to come to your senses, you should know what the consequences are. Remember what our Ghost King sect is best at. We will suck you dry." After that he began to count down. 3, 1 inch after counting the last number, the seventh elder was about to make a move when he heard someone next to him shouting, "Let's see who dares to touch her." The seventh elder turned his head and saw another black-clothed man with a golden mask appearing in the courtyard. "First elder, why are you here? We couldn't find you during this time." The sect master was worried. The seventh elder said and hurried over to bow to Niu Tsuehua. When Qin Haodong and Niu Tsuehua arrived at the general's mansion, they happened to see the scene in front of them. In order not to cause too much noise, he asked Niu Tsuehua to reveal her identity. Niu Tsuehua said coldly, "What are you doing here?" The seventh elder said, "First elder, I am tracking the whereabouts of the black demon bead." Niu Tsuehua said, "Let her go. You don't have to worry about things here." The seventh elder hesitated and said, "First elder, I have confirmed that a black demon bead is in the hands of the He family." Niu Tsuehua said discontentedly, "Don't you understand what I said? Hurry up and let him go." "But, this is the task given by the sect master." The seventh elder was obviously not willing to give up like this. "I will naturally talk to the sect master. I don't want to repeat myself." As Niu Tsuehua said, a strong momentum suddenly broke out. The seventh elder was shocked. Originally, Niu Tsuehua was the sect master's sister, so she sat in the position of first elder. He did not expect that she had reached the middle stage of Deshang in a few days. The Ghost King sect had always respected the strong. Even if the first elder killed him, there was no way to reason. Thinking of this, he hurriedly said, "Yes, first elder, I will leave." After that, he waved his hand and left the general's mansion with the ghost slaves behind him. He Ziwei looked at Niu Tsuehua and said coldly, "No matter what tricks your Ghost King sect plays, I don't have the black demon bead." Qin Haodong said, "Ziwei, you misunderstood. It's me." Hearing this familiar voice, He Ziwei trembled all over and said in surprise, "Haodong, is it really you?" Qin Haodong waved his hand and wiped the disguise medicine off his face, revealing his true face. "Of course it's me. Haodong, it's great that you're back." He Ziwei said and jumped into Qin Haodong's arms. Her eyes sparkled with tears of joy. These days she didn't want to eat or drink. She had been worried about this man. Now he was finally back. Qin Haodong patted her on the shoulder and said, "I'm leaving the kingdom of Vermilion Bird soon. What's your plan?" He Ziwei said without hesitation, "I don't want to stay here after you leave. Of course I want to go with you. If you've thought it through, let's go now. It'll be too late when the kingdom of Vermilion Bird notices the movement here. If I've thought it through, I'll go with you now." He Ziwei turned around and put some commonly used items into the storage ring. She and Qin Haodong left the general's mansion and flew in the direction of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. It took almost 2 days to get to the Azure Dragon Kingdom from the royal city of Vermilion Bird, but they were not in a hurry. They stopped from time to time and played for a while when they saw good scenery. The next day, as they were walking forward, a mountain range appeared in front of them. Suddenly, Qin Haodong keenly felt a wave of energy coming from under his feet. Someone was setting up a formation. As a high-level formation master, he immediately felt that this was the unique energy wave of someone setting up a formation. "Why are there people here? Let's go and take a look." Qin Haodong's curiosity was piqued. He greeted Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei, and the three of them carefully approached the direction of the energy wave. In front of them was a tall mountain peak. At the foot of the mountain was a huge cave. In front of the cave, there was a figure that was constantly moving. It was the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Li Mengyao, Li Tianxiong, Li Tianqua, and the others were all there. Li Tianxiong was a high-level formation master. He was directing the others to set up a formation in front of the cave. "Bastards, I'm going to kill them right now." Seeing Li Mengyao and the others, Niu Tsuehua was instantly enraged. She was now in the middle stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. She didn't care about Li Tianxiong and Li Tianqua at all. Even if the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom banded together, they wouldn't be a match for her. "Wait a minute." Qin Haodong pulled Niu Tsuehua back and said in a low voice, "Don't be anxious. Let's see what they're doing." Logically speaking, the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom had left the Vermilion Bird Kingdom for some time. Since they were able to meet here, it meant that they had something important to do. "Alright then, I'll let them live a little longer." Niu Tsuehua endured it. The three of them secretly hid themselves, wanting to see what Li Mengyao and the others were up to. After more than an hour, under Li Tianxiong's command, the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom finally finished setting up the formation. These people were no longer cautious. Li Tianqua drew the long sword on his back and slashed at the cave. Suddenly the wind and clouds surged. The huge sword chi slashed the cave, sending rocks flying everywhere. Even the mountain behind seemed to be trembling. Roar! After the slash, two angry roars came from inside the cave. Then, two demonic beasts covered in bloody light scuttled out from inside. These two demonic beasts looked extremely similar to the bears on Earth. However, they were more than 10 times larger. They had a pair of wings on both sides of their bodies, with a wingspan of more than 20 meters. Their eyes were as red as blood and they looked murderous. Their bodies were covered in fiery red scales like burning flames, showing their extremely strong defense. Qin Haodong didn't know much about the demonic beasts of the Lingwu continent, but Niu Tsuehua recognized them. She exclaimed, "These are flaming golden-eyed beasts. Are they very powerful?" Qin Haodong asked. "Very powerful. They're level 8 fire-attributed demonic beasts. If they were to fight one-on-one, these two old men from the Azure Dragon Kingdom would definitely be no match for them." Qin Haodong nodded. No wonder the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom set up the formation here. They were here for these two demonic beasts. After feeling the power of the two flaming golden-eyed beasts, the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom quickly retreated. "Do it." Li Qianxiong, Li Qianque, and Li Mengyao each took a position. After a loud roar, the three of them simultaneously activated the formation that they had prepared. With a loud rumble, fog rose within a radius of a kilometer in front of the cave. In an instant, the two unprepared flaming golden-eyed beasts were surrounded. This is the Hidden Dragon Formation. After the formation was activated, Qin Haodong could immediately tell that it was a trapping formation. Moreover, it was a very high-level trapping formation, the Hidden Dragon Formation. Niu Tsuehua asked in a low voice, "Husband, you know this formation. Is it very powerful?" Chapter 993. Of course it's powerful. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called the Dragon Subduing Formation. Qin Haodong said, "The Dragon Subduing Formation is a high-end formation. It uses the surrounding natural environment and violent spiritual qi to condense into a binding rope. Whether it's a human or a magical beast, as long as they fall into it, they will be trapped instantly. It's extremely difficult to escape." He Ziwei said, "It seems that the people of the Azure Dragon Kingdom have spent a lot of effort to capture these two flame golden-eyed beasts." Qin Haodong said, "The Dragon Subduing Formation is the peak of trapping formations. It's not easy to set up such a high-level formation. The formation master needs to observe the terrain in advance, find a suitable place to set up the formation flags, and then hide the formation flags underground one by one without leaving any traces on the ground. Otherwise, it'll be easily discovered by the magical beasts. I'm afraid it'll take at least 6 or 7 days to finish all this under the eyes of the flame golden-eyed beasts. Otherwise, it'll be impossible to finish it." Iziwei said, "They paid such a high price. What do they want to do?" Niu Tsuehua said, "What else can they do? I guess they want to keep the flame golden-eyed beasts as their pet beasts. However, after the magical beasts reach level 8, they usually have spiritual intelligence and won't lower their heads easily." While they were talking, the spiritual qi condensed in the Dragon Subduing Formation at the foot of the mountain finally formed thick chains, which locked the two flame golden-eyed beasts tightly. The two magical beasts, which were comparable to masters at the early stage of the Mahayana realm, were extremely angry. They kept roaring and struggling, but they could do nothing about the formation. "Let me tell you, it's useless to struggle. It'll only make you more and more miserable." Seeing that his formation had succeeded, Li Tianxiong let out a long sigh of relief. All this was planned by him. He had prepared here for 7 days and now he could finally close the net. Li Tianque said, "Your Highness, it won't take long for these two magical beasts to surrender and become your pet beasts." A smile appeared on Li Mingyao's face. "No matter whether Qin Haodong is dead or alive, he'll never be a match for my 8th-rank magical beast." It turned out that she had been indignant after being defeated by Qin Haodong's 3-legged golden toad. On his way back to the Azure Dragon Kingdom, he suddenly discovered 2 flaming golden-eyed beasts. That was why he decided to take them in as his pet beasts. Qin Haodong heard what they said clearly. It turned out that the capture of these 2 warcraft had something to do with him. Roar! The 2 red-eyed, golden-eyed beasts in the Dragon Subduing Imprisonment Formation became more and more enraged as they struggled and roared. They were the kings of this mountain region. Usually, whether it was humans or beasts, they would hide far away when they saw them. They didn't expect to suddenly fall into someone else's trap. Li Mengyao walked in front of the 2 giant beasts and said, "No matter how strong you are still just a demon beast. You don't understand the wisdom of the human race. This is a high-level trapping formation. Even a giant dragon can't escape from it. I advise you to stop struggling and obediently become my pet beasts. Otherwise only death awaits you. After saying that, she drew a hexagram in the air, then cut her index finger and dripped a drop of blood into it. As long as you accept my master-servant contract, I will immediately release you. Roar. The two flaming golden-eyed beasts were usually extremely arrogant. How could they be willing to become someone's pet beasts? They didn't pay any attention to Li Mengyao and continued to struggle in the trap. Their bodies were burning with raging flames. Unfortunately, these ropes were condensed from spiritual energy. No matter how fierce the flames were, they couldn't do anything to them. Li Mengyao frowned and turned to Li Tianxiong and said, "Can you give them a little something to make them surrender faster?" Li Tianxiong said, "Your Highness, I'm afraid that won't work. This formation can only trap them at most. It can't cause too much damage." Li Mengyao said, "At the level of 8th rank magical beasts, they can live for a year and a half even if they don't eat or drink. Are we just going to wait here forever?" "Your Highness, I have an idea." Lu Mingju walked out of the cave of the two flaming golden-eyed beasts with Pang Ban. Each of them was holding two puppy-like things in their hands. The puppy-like things looked red and extremely cute. They were newborn flaming golden-eyed beasts. Seeing their children being taken out, the two flaming golden-eyed beasts became even more violent. They were so angry that their eyes were about to pop out. Unfortunately, the dragon trap formation was too powerful. They couldn't break free even if they tried their best. Li Mengyao said, "What do you mean? Do you want me to raise these little things? It's too long. I can't wait." "That's not what I mean." A vicious look flashed across Lu Mingju's eyes. "Your Highness, we can use the cubs of the flaming golden-eyed beasts to force them to accept your contract." Li Mengyao moved and said, "That's a good idea. We can try." Lu Mingju walked to the flaming golden-eyed beasts with a cub in her arms. "You two surrender now or I'll kill it." Roar. Roar. The two flaming golden-eyed beasts roared angrily. Their eyes were filled with hatred. They couldn't wait to tear the woman in front of them into pieces. Unfortunately, they were trapped tightly and couldn't break free at all. They didn't want their children to be hurt, and at the same time, they were unwilling to surrender to a human. "You won't give up until you see your coffin." "Do you think I'm joking?" A ferocious look flashed across Lu Mingju's handsome face. She raised her right hand and threw the cub of the flaming golden-eyed beasts onto a huge rock beside her. With a puff, blood splattered. Although the flaming golden-eyed beasts were 8th rank magical beasts, their cubs were extremely weak when they were just born. They were smashed into a pile of blood and flesh. Roar. Seeing their cubs die in front of them, the two flaming golden-eyed beasts let out earth-shattering roars. There was anger, sadness, reluctance in their eyes, but most of all, hatred. "What do you think? To submit or not to submit? Otherwise this one will die too." As she spoke, Lu Mingju raised another cub. "A woman's heart is the most vicious. You're so vicious." At this moment, a cold voice came from the side. Lu Mingju was shocked. She turned her head and saw Qin Haodong, Niu Tsuehua, and He Ziwei approaching them. Li Mingyao's expression changed. She shouted, "Qin, you're not dead? If vicious women like you are not dead, why should good people like us die?" Qin Haodong said, "The people of the Azure Dragon Kingdom are really unscrupulous in order to achieve their goals. You won't even let a newborn cub go. Kid, since you're not dead, I'll send you to hell now." Li Tianque roared and raised his hand to slap Qin Haodong. "Old thing, get out of here." Niu Tsuehua's figure flashed and stood in front of Qin Haodong. She raised her hand to slap him. With a muffled bang, Li Tianque's body shot out like a cannonball. He broke a few big trees before landing on the ground. As soon as he stood up from the ground, he spat out a mouthful of blood. "You?" Li Tianque was so surprised that he couldn't speak. Just a few days ago they were both at the early stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. He didn't expect that Niu Tsuehua had already entered the middle stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. Li Tianxiong and the others were also shocked. If Niu Tsuehua was at the early stage of the Great Vehicle Realm, it would be easier. After all, they had the advantage of numbers. But now it was different. An expert at the middle stage of the Great Vehicle Realm could completely crush a dozen of them. Li Mengyao said, "Qin Haodong, what are you doing?" "Nothing. I just can't bear to see you bullying people." "No bullying two magical beasts." Qin Haodong smiled mockingly and looked back at the two flame golden-eyed beasts in the dragon trap formation. He raised his hand and drew a hexagram in the air. He dripped a drop of blood into it and said, "Accept my contract and then I'll let you go out and take revenge." He had learned the beast taming skills in the spirit beast bag, but the two flame golden-eyed beasts were too high level. They were class 8 magical beasts. It was not easy to tame them on normal days, but the situation was different now. At this time, the eyes of the two flame golden-eyed beasts were full of hatred. They were thinking about how to escape and how to take revenge, so they easily accepted Qin Haodong's contract. The magical beasts did not resist, and the contract took effect immediately. The hexagram disappeared quickly, and the drop of blood turned into two red lights and shot into the foreheads of the two flame golden-eyed beasts. The contract was established. From now on, the two flame golden-eyed beasts were Qin Haodong's pet beasts. Li Mengyao was so angry that her eyes were spitting fire. She had been here for 7 or 8 days and spent so much effort, but in the end it was all for someone else. Originally, she had fantasized about taming the two Class 8 magical beasts and completely crushing Qin Haodong's three-legged golden toad. Now, the two flame golden-eyed beasts had become his pet beasts, which made her feel so aggrieved that she wanted to vomit blood. Li Tianxiong said angrily, "Qin Haodong, it's useless even if you tame them. My formation is called the Dragon Trap Formation. Without my permission they can't get out even if they die." He had absolute confidence in his array formation. This array formation was something he had learned from an ancient book. Until now it had never failed. Qin Haodong smiled disdainfully, "You're thinking too much. I can break a formation like this in minutes?" "Keep bragging. That's impossible. This is the highest level trap formation. Without decades of attainment, it's impossible to break it." Li Tianxiong was talking non-stop when he suddenly saw a red brick appear in Qin Haodong's palm. Then he raised his hand and smashed it into the dragon trap formation. With a smack, the brick smashed right into the eye of the dragon subduing trapping formation. With a loud bang, the entire formation stopped working. The spiritual energy ropes that tied the two flame golden-eyed beasts disappeared quickly. Breaking a formation with a brick, it worked every time. Li Tianxiong and the others were completely dumbfounded. He had lived for so many years, but he had never seen anyone break a formation like this. Then a huge wave of fear rose in everyone's hearts. If the two flame golden-eyed beasts broke free, wouldn't it mean that they were doomed? Especially Lu Mingjiu. She was no longer as vicious and proud as before. She had killed a cub in front of the flame golden-eyed beasts. One could imagine the consequences for her. Roar! After breaking free, the two flame golden-eyed beasts roared into the sky. Their eyes were spewing flames of anger. Then they pounced on the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom. One of the flame golden-eyed beasts pounced on Lu Mingjiu. Lu Mingjiu was scared out of her wits. In a panic, she threw the other cub in her hand. The flame golden-eyed beast raised its huge front paw. An invisible force caught the cub and placed it beside it. Then it opened its mouth and spat out a huge pillar of fire that engulfed her whole body. Lu Mingjiu did not even have time to scream before she was burned to ashes by the flame golden-eyed beast. Nothing was left. At the same time, the other flame golden-eyed beast pounced on Li Mengyao. It seemed to know that this woman was the cause of all this. Chapter 994. The 8th rank magical beast was comparable to a master in the great vehicle stage. Before the flaming golden eyes beast could reach Li Mengyao, its huge pressure had already suppressed her. "Your Highness, be careful." Li Tianxiong rushed over and protected Li Mengyao behind him. He raised his hand and punched the flaming golden eyes beast away. The man and the beast were fighting. Normally he would be able to fight evenly with the flaming golden eyes beast. However, he had to protect the second princess, Li Mengyao, so his hands and feet were tied. Soon he was at a disadvantage. After fighting for a few rounds, his hair and beard were all burned clean by the raging flames. He was in a very sorry state. The other flaming golden eyes beast killed Lu Mingjiu, but it was still angry. It turned around and pounced on Pang Ban Xiaolong and the others. These people were only at the early body synthesis stage. They couldn't even fight back under the huge pressure of the 8th rank magical beast. The flames that the flaming golden eyes beast spat out had the power to burn everything within 1,000 miles. Soon these people were all turned into ashes. In the blink of an eye, only Li Tianxiong, Li Tianque, and Li Mengyao were left from the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Li Tianque adjusted his internal injuries. He wanted to help Li Tianxiong, but he was blocked by the other flaming golden eyes beast as soon as he moved. After being injured, he was still weaker than Li Tianxiong. As soon as they started fighting, he was beaten up by the angry flaming golden eyes beast. He wanted to escape, but he was blocked by it. After 2 or 3 minutes, the flaming golden eyes beast tore off his left arm. "Ah!" Li Tianxiong let out a shrill cry. He turned around and was about to escape. However, he saw Niu Tsuehua standing behind him. The great elder of the Ghost King sect had always been a vengeful person. Although he didn't attack just now, he had already sentenced Li Tianque and Li Tianxiong to death. Seeing that Li Tianque was about to escape, he immediately blocked his way. Go back. Niu Tsuehua slapped Li Tianque back. Unfortunately, Li Tianque wasn't as lucky as before. What was waiting for him was not the big tree, but the huge mouth of the flaming golden eyes beast. The blazing golden eyes beast opened its mouth wide and swallowed Li Tianque. Seeing this scene, Li Tianxiong couldn't help but tremble in fear. Although he was a master of the Great Ascension stage, his courage was not much bigger than ordinary people. He was already at a disadvantage. As he was distracted, the fiery golden-eyed beast's huge claw landed on his chest. Compared to cultivators, demonic beasts had extremely powerful fleshly bodies to begin with. The slap instantly shattered Li Tianxiong's sternum, causing blood to gush out along with his internal organs. At the same time, another fiery golden eyes beast rushed over and swallowed Li Tianxiong. In the blink of an eye, the two great Ascension stage experts of the Azure Dragon Kingdom had both died without a complete corpse. Li Mingyao turned pale with fright at first, then she came back to her senses and shouted at Qin Haodong, "Hurry up and tell your magical beast to stop. Do you really want to be the enemy of the Azure Dragon Kingdom?" Qin Haodong sneered, "From the moment the Azure Dragon Kingdom attacked me, we were no longer friends. Are you saying that the Azure Dragon Kingdom will not be my enemy in the future if I let you go?" Qin Haodong, just you wait. The Azure Dragon Kingdom will definitely not let you go. Li Mingyao's eyes were filled with extreme hatred. Seeing the two blazing golden eyes beasts pouncing on her again, a golden talisman suddenly appeared in her hand. "Qin Haodong, I'll kill you sooner or later." Li Mingyao roared angrily again. That golden talisman? It emitted a golden light that enveloped her body and instantly disappeared from where she was. The two blazing golden eyes beasts pounced on empty air, then they roared unwillingly at their surroundings. Niu Tsuehua said, "This woman actually has a treasure that can teleport, but she still managed to escape." Qin Haodong was not surprised about this. It's normal for the second princess of the Azure Dragon Kingdom to have a treasure that can save her life. But this kind of talisman? It must be an extremely rare treasure that could not be used again after being used once. After killing all their enemies, the two blazing golden eyes beasts came to Qin Haodong together and rubbed their big heads against his body. Go, go, go. Stay away from me. It's too hot. It was summer. As soon as the two fire attribute magical beasts got close, they felt extremely hot. One of the blazing golden eyes beasts let out a roar. Qin Haodong said, Okay. I understand what you mean. I'll take your children with me." Then he moved his mind and put the 3 cubs of the blazing golden eyes beasts into the spiritual beast bag. The 2 blazing golden eyes beasts came to the dead cub and let out a sad cry. Then they also went into Qin Haodong's spiritual beast bag. Qin Haodong and the other 2 didn't stay here anymore. They continued to fly toward the Azure Dragon Kingdom. The next day they entered the territory of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. In the evening, a huge city appeared in front of them. Qin Haodong asked, "Is this the Azure Dragon Royal City?" It was no wonder that he asked this question. This city was huge and looked no less than the Black Tortoise Royal City. He Ziwei said, "It's a long way from here to the Azure Dragon Royal City. It's called the Little Azure Dragon City." Qin Haodong exclaimed, "No wonder the Azure Dragon Kingdom is the most powerful kingdom in the Lingwu continent. This city is comparable to the Black Tortoise Royal City and the Vermilion Bird Royal City." He Ziwei said, "The Little Azure Dragon City is indeed prosperous because this is the base of the Alchemist Union of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Countless cultivators go here to ask for medicine every day. Because of this, the scale of this city is getting bigger and bigger. It's even comparable to the Azure Dragon Royal City." Niu Tsuehua said, "Sister Ziwei, it seems that you're very familiar with this place. Have you been here before?" 3 years ago, I came here with my father to buy medicine." He Ziwei said, "Although the headquarters of the Alchemist Union of the Lingwu continent is in the White Tiger Kingdom, the branch of the Alchemist Union of the Azure Dragon Kingdom is also famous. The president, Lu Xiaoyao, is an 8th-grade alchemist and the first vice president of the Alchemist Union of the headquarters." Niu Tsuehua said to Qin Haodong, "Husband, since it's so prosperous here, let's go down and have a look?" Qin Haodong said, "Well, we'll stay here tonight and leave tomorrow." After that, the 3 of them landed not far from the city gate and walked into the Little Azure Dragon City. At the city gate, they found that hundreds of people had gathered around the city wall and were looking at a huge notice. Niu Tsuehua, who always liked crowds, shouted, "Husband, let's go and have a look. If it's still a marriage notice, you can choose another wife." Sister Tsuehua, you're making fun of me again. He Ziwei glanced at Qin Haodong and blushed. She didn't think much about her marriage. Instead, she felt that it was the wisest decision she had made in her life. Qin Haodong said, "If you want to see it, then go and have a look." The three of them went to the bottom of the city wall and saw a huge notice hanging at a place more than 2 meters high. It was a notice offering a reward for medical treatment. It was clearly stated that whoever could cure the illness of Lu Xiaoyao, the president of the Alchemist Union, would give 10 low-grade immortal crystals as a reward. Qin Haodong couldn't help but be surprised. The king of the Vermilion Bird Kingdom only gave a low-grade immortal crystal as a reward for such a big competition like the Four Nations Exchange. He didn't expect the Alchemist Union to be so rich that they could give 10 low-grade immortal crystals as a medical fee. This was definitely a big deal. The people next to them also kept talking about it. It seems that President Lu is really sick this time. He took out a low-grade immortal crystal on the first day and added one every day. Now he has accumulated 10 low-grade immortal crystals. It's a pity that I don't know medical skills, otherwise I would be rich. It's 10 low-grade immortal crystals. It's exciting to think about it. You think too much. How can it be so easy to get low-grade immortal crystals? All the famous doctors in our little Azure Dragon City have been there, but no one can cure President Lu's illness. Niu Tsuehua said, "Husband, aren't you proficient in medical skills? Do you want to give it a try?" She was well aware of Qin Haodong's medical skills. If Qin Haodong hadn't treated her in the 7th Order Pagoda, she wouldn't have been able to recover now. Let's go. Let's go into the city now. Qin Haodong wouldn't care if it was something else as a reward, but this low-grade immortal crystal was a good thing for him to improve his cultivation. He absolutely couldn't let it go. Watching the three of them leave, the onlookers behind them kept shaking their heads. It's obvious that they're not from here. They don't know their limits. So many famous doctors couldn't cure President Lu. What's the use of them going there? It's obvious that they're going for the immortal crystals. But if the immortal crystals were so easy to get, they would have been taken away by others long ago. This young man looks good, but it's a pity that he doesn't look like a doctor. Qin Haodong ignored the discussions of these people. After entering the city to inquire, he went straight to the mansion of the president of the Alchemist Union. Lu Xiaoyao, the president of the Alchemist Union of Little Azure Dragon City, was an 8th-grade alchemist and also a master of the Great Vehicle Stage. His status here was even more respected than the city lord. Correspondingly, his mansion was also built extremely luxuriously, with richly carved beams and painted rafters. At the gate of the mansion, more than a dozen guards were guarding here with cold expressions. Seeing a man and 2 women coming this way, the guard leader immediately stepped forward and asked, "Stop, what are you doing?" Qin Haodong said, "I'm here to treat President Lu." "Treating? Are you a doctor?" Qin Haodong said, "Yes, I'm a doctor." The guard leader saw that he looked too young and said with some disbelief, "Where's your doctor badge? Let me have a look." "Doctor badge? Do doctors need badges?" Qin Haodong hadn't been in the Lingwu continent for a long time. He knew that alchemists had badges, but he hadn't heard that doctors also had badges. "You don't even know what a doctor's badge is. How dare you come here and pretend to be a doctor?" The guard leader said angrily, "Where are you from? Did you come here to make trouble?" Hearing what he said, the other guards also glared at him. Some even pulled out their swords and sabers in their hands. It seemed that they would make a move if they didn't agree. "Presumptuous, who gave you the courage to talk to me like this?" Qin Haodong's body exuded an irresistible power. "Although I don't have a doctor's badge, my medical skills are definitely the best in the Lingwu continent. Only I can cure your president's illness." Seeing that he was full of momentum and spoke with confidence, the guard leader was at a loss. "Since your medical skills are so good, why don't you even have a doctor's badge? What's the use of those worldly things?" "It's just a formality." Qin Haodong said, "People like us with real medical skills don't care about badges at all. These days a lot of doctors with badges have come here. Have they cured President Lu's illness? The badge doesn't represent medical skills. If it delays President Lu's treatment, can you afford it?" Chapter 995. The guard leader and several guards behind him were dumbfounded. None of them could bear this responsibility, but they didn't dare to let Qin Haodong in. Although the badge was the proof of being a doctor, there were also some people with special talents who didn't bother to apply for the badge and didn't take the test. At this moment, a middle-aged man came over and looked at the people in front of the door. He said, "What's going on? What are you arguing about?" The guard leader hurried over and said, "Butler Lee, this person is here to treat the president, but he doesn't have a badge." Steward Lee said arrogantly, "A person who doesn't even have a doctor's badge is not qualified to treat our president. Just drive him out." As an 8th-level alchemist, Lu Xiaoyao had a superior status in the Azure Dragon Kingdom. No matter how high or low their cultivation was, as long as they were cultivators, they couldn't do without elixirs. Therefore, he had a lot of appeal in the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Butler Lee's status also rose. People who came here every day to ask for medicine, no matter how high their cultivation was or how high their status was, had to be polite when they saw him. This also cultivated his arrogant temper. After Lu Xiaoyao fell ill, countless senior doctors came here but couldn't cure him. He naturally didn't care about a doctor who didn't even have a badge. The guard leader said hesitantly, "But he said he can cure the president's illness. If the president's treatment is delayed, no one can bear the responsibility." What a big tone. Butler Lee looked at Qin Haodong and said with disdain, "You're so young but you talk big. These days, all the famous doctors in the little Azure Dragon City have come, but they couldn't cure the president's illness. I really don't know where you get your confidence from. These days, all the doctors who came to treat the illness were received by him. There was no lack of famous doctors, but they couldn't do anything about Lu Xiaoyao's illness." From the bottom of his heart, he didn't believe that the young man in front of him could do anything. Confidence comes from strength. In this world, there is no illness that I can't cure as long as the person doesn't die. The more you talk, the more excited you are. Butler Lee said, "Since your medical skills are so high, what's wrong with me?" Qin Haodong glanced at him and said jokingly, "Are you sure you want me to say it in public?" Butler Lee snorted, "As long as you have the ability, what's wrong with saying it? You're the one who asked me to say that." Qin Haodong said, "If I'm not mistaken, you haven't had sex for at least 3 years. And so far you don't even have a son or a daughter. All right, little brother, don't say any more." Steward Lee originally thought that Qin Haodong was a liar, so he said that. He didn't expect that Qin Haodong really saw through his problem. He took Qin Haodong's hand to the corner and whispered, "Little brother, can I be cured?" If he said that he had no children, it would still be understandable. After all, this kind of thing could be found out by anyone in the little Azure Dragon City. However, he did not have any sexual intercourse within 3 years. This secret was only known to him. Therefore, as soon as Qin Haodong opened his mouth, he immediately believed most of it. Qin Haodong said, "It's not a big problem. It's not a big deal. You can be completely cured in 5 minutes. Really? Little brother, you're not lying to me, right? As long as you can cure my disease, you can ask for any price." Steward Lee's face was full of excitement. Over the years, he had seen almost all the famous doctors in the Azure Dragon Kingdom because of Lu Xiaoyao, but no one could cure his disease. As a man, especially a man with a high status, countless women would fight to throw themselves at him. However, he had a problem in that aspect which was extremely painful. Qin Haodong said with a smile, "What's wrong? You want me to cure you now? You don't mind that I don't have a doctor's badge?" "Little brother, this is my fault. I've seen countless doctors with badges over the years, but they couldn't cure my disease. Please forgive me and help me treat my disease. As long as you can cure my disease, I'll immediately recommend you to see President Lu. It's a deal. I'll cure you now." Qin Haodong said as he stepped forward to hold Steward Lee's hand and passed a wisp of greenwood genuine qi to him. "Your hidden disease is completely caused by your cultivation method. The attribute of your cultivation method is yin. Every time you cultivate, it will hurt your kidney qi. When you were young, your kidney qi was full, but your cultivation was still shallow, so it was not obvious. As you grow older, your cultivation will become deeper and deeper, and the damage to your body will become greater and greater. Now it's only your male function that is damaged. In a few years, I'm afraid your life will be affected." Steward Lee felt a burst of warmth in his lower abdomen, which was indescribably comfortable. After hearing Qin Haodong's words, he suddenly turned pale with fright. "Little brother, do you mean I can't practice martial arts in the future?" The Lingwu continent had always respected martial arts. He sat in the position of steward because of his cultivation. If he became a disabled person in the future, he was afraid that he would lose everything. "It's not that serious. I think the cultivation method you practice must be incomplete. Some parts are incomplete, so it leads to this effect. As long as you correct the mistakes, you can continue to practice. Little brother, you're amazing. When I was young, my family was poor. I accidentally got an incomplete secret book and practiced according to the records on it. I didn't expect it to become like this." Steward Li said with a begging face, "Little brother, can you help me repair the incomplete cultivation method? I'm a doctor. You run your genuine qi. I'll find the parts that will cause harm to your body and change them for you." "That's great, little brother. You're like my second parent." Steward Li began to run his genuine qi and presented his cultivation method in front of Qin Haodong without reservation. As the Emperor Greenwood in his previous life, Qin Haodong had seen countless cultivation methods. After a large circulation, he immediately knew where the problem of Steward Li's incomplete cultivation method was. "Now listen to me. Run this cultivation method again. Don't go to the Shinshu acupoint. Go to the Mingmen acupoint. Don't go to the Changqiang acupoint. Go to the Huiyang acupoint." Qin Haodong made a total of 6 changes to his cultivation method. Steward Li ran a large circulation according to the new cultivation method and immediately felt warm all over, without the previous cold feeling. Especially the key part of the man, at this moment the previous depression was gone and there was a tendency to be restless. "Miracle working doctor, you're really a miracle working doctor." Steward Li was very excited. He didn't expect that when he asked the president for help, the little magic doctor would also cure his illness by accident. Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei stood in front of the mansion. Although they couldn't hear the two people talking, they saw their performance clearly. Steward Li was arrogant at first, but when he held hands with Qin Haodong, his expression changed greatly. He was excited like something. Not only did he not look arrogant before, but he also nodded and bowed with a fawning face. "Sister Ziwei, guess what they are doing? Is it possible that our husband likes men? Is he seducing that guy?" He Ziwei was not as bold as Niu Tsuehua. She blushed and said, "I don't think so." Niu Tsuehua said, "I don't think so. With 2 beauties like us by his side, how can our husband like men? Even if he wants to find a man, he won't find such an ugly steward like Steward Li. But I don't understand why 2 men are holding hands," and Steward Li's attitude changed so quickly. About 5 minutes later, Qin Haodong cured all the hidden diseases of Steward Li, and the 2 of them walked back together. After arriving at the gate, Steward Li shouted to the guards in front of the gate, "Get out of the way. Let the little magic doctor in to treat the president." The guards were also confused, but they didn't dare to disobey the steward's order. They quickly and politely got out of the way. Qin Haodong and the 2 of them followed Steward Li into the mansion. Lu Xiaoyao's mansion was huge and the roads were complicated. There were all kinds of guards and secret sentries on the side. Not only that, but there were also array bases and array flags in some corners of the yard. The security was extremely tight. Under the lead of Steward Li, they walked inside together. Niu Tsuehua took Qin Haodong's hand and whispered, "Husband, what were you 2 doing sneakily just now?" Qin Haodong said, "What do you mean sneakily? We were treating the illness openly, okay?" "Treating the illness?" 2 men were holding hands secretly. "Is that a cure?" Niu Tsuehua said, "Husband, Sister Ziwei was worried that your taste had changed." He Ziwei heard their conversation and her cheeks swelled. She said, "Sister Tsuehua, when did I say that?" Qin Haodong was speechless. The first elder of the Ghost King sect was really unique. He does have a hidden disease in his body. I just treated him with Greenwood genuine qi and helped him improve his cultivation method. Qin Haodong said and stared at Niu Tsuehua meaningfully, "How dare you say that about your husband? It seems that you will be punished tonight." Niu Tsuehua glanced at him and said in a sweet voice, "Okay, but you have to take Sister Ziwei with you." Ziwei certainly knew what they meant. Her cheeks were so red that it seemed that blood was going to drip out. She lowered her head shyly, and her chin was so low that it almost touched her towering chest. It didn't take long for them to come to a hall. When they walked in, there were already more than a dozen doctors sitting inside. The oldest of these people had white hair, and the youngest was over 40 or 50 years old. They all wore doctor badges on their chests. These people were talking loudly, but when they saw the housekeeper, they immediately stood up respectfully. A white-haired old man said, "Housekeeper Li, I'm Linghu Chao from the White Tiger Kingdom. I'm here to treat President Lu." Another bearded middle-aged man said, "Housekeeper Li, I'm Su Nanzhong from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. I'm also here to treat President Lu." These people introduced themselves one after another. When they mentioned their names, their faces showed pride. Obviously, these were all famous doctors and they felt that they were qualified to be proud. Although these people claimed to be famous doctors, they also knew the status of Housekeeper Li, so they were very respectful and polite. After they introduced themselves, Linghu Chao said, "Housekeeper Li, when can we treat President Lu?" "What's the hurry? Just wait." Housekeeper Li said with an arrogant expression and a cold tone. He didn't mean to be polite to these people at all. Although these people were dissatisfied, no one dared to show it because of housekeeper Li's status. Chapter 996. After that, Steward Li turned around and his sullen face immediately turned into a smile. Little magic doctor, please have a rest here with the two ladies. I'll invite the president over right away. After that, he arranged for Qin Haodong and the other two ladies to sit down and then left with his men. Ling Huqiao and the others were all shocked by the scene in front of them. Steward Li had always been arrogant to them. When had he ever been so polite? Who was this young man in front of them? How could Steward Li be so respectful to him? There would be no harm if there was no comparison. This huge contrast made all the doctors on the scene feel extremely uncomfortable. Especially when they heard Steward Li call this man the little magic doctor, they were even more unconvinced. They were all doctors, but why was there such a huge difference in their behavior? Especially Ling Huqiao, who was a famous magic doctor in the White Tiger Kingdom. He was admired wherever he went. This time he would not have come all the way to the Azure Dragon Kingdom if it was not for the low-grade immortal crystals. In his opinion, the treatment of this young man in front of him should belong to him. He walked forward and glanced at Qin Haodong. He said disdainfully, "Young man, are you also a doctor?" "Yes, I'm here to treat President Liu." "You're young but you talk big. Can you treat diseases? At your age, how much can you learn even if you started learning medicine since you were born?" Qin Haodong had always been respectful. He was not used to people who were used to flaunting their seniority. He said jokingly, "I can't say whether I can treat diseases or not. Anyway, my medical skills are better than yours." "You're so arrogant. Do you know who I am?" Ling Huqiao suddenly became angry. "I've lived for so many years and no one has ever dared to say that their medical skills are better than mine." Qin Haodong still said with a smile, "That's because you haven't met me before. You'll know how useless you are when you meet me." In terms of medical skills, he absolutely had the confidence. Su Nanzhong shouted, "Young man, how can you be so arrogant at such a young age? Don't you know manners? Don't you know how to respect your seniors?" As an old monster who had lived for more than 500 years, how could Qin Haodong not know what these old men were thinking? It was obvious that they wanted to show off in front of him to find a sense of superiority. "Seniors?" he sneered. "In terms of medical skills, I can be all of your seniors." Arrogant. He's really too arrogant. Such a young junior dares to speak to an elder like that? Which family is this ignorant kid from? Does he even have the awareness of a young man? Does he even understand etiquette? Teach him a lesson. I must teach him a lesson today. Hearing Qin Haodong's words, the famous doctors present all jumped up like cats whose tails had been stepped on. Some of the more hot-tempered ones even revealed their cultivation bases, looking as if they would attack at the slightest disagreement. Although they're doctors, they're all martial artists. Old man Ling Huqiao has already reached the mid-body integration stage, and Su Nanzhong has also reached the early body integration stage. Let's see who dares. Niu Tsuehua shouted angrily, "A bunch of reckless old fools. If my husband says you're trash, then you're trash. What's there to be unhappy about?" While speaking, the momentum belonging to the middle Dashang stage suddenly broke out. The powerful momentum was so oppressive that the people present could not breathe, and some of the cultivators who were too low fell to the ground on the spot. Ling Huqiao and Su Nanzhong were shocked. They originally thought that Qin Haodong and the others' cultivation bases would not be high because of their age, so they just took the opportunity to step on them and vent their depression. But they never expected that the beautiful and charming Niu Tsuehua turned out to be a master at the middle Dashang stage. With this kind of cultivation, even if all of them were tied together, they would not be able to defeat her with one finger. We're doctors. We won't lower ourselves to the same level as these juniors. That's right. We're all famous doctors. We can't lose our identities to the juniors. These people were also old and sophisticated. Seeing that Niu Tsuehua could not be provoked, they immediately turned around and retreated. No one dared to say a word anymore. Su Nanzhong was so angry that his beard twitched. He secretly swore in his heart, "When I cure President Liu with the status of the president of the Pharmacist Guild, I'll definitely teach you a lesson." Although Ling Huqiao was used to flaunting his seniority, he was not a fool. He did not dare to provoke Niu Tsuehua, so he obediently sat back in his seat with the same idea as Su Nanzhong. Seeing these people's angry and dissatisfied expressions, Qin Haodong just smiled slightly. His purpose of coming here was the 10 pieces of low-grade immortal crystals. The rest did not matter at all. Not long after, the door opened again and Steward Li came in from the outside. Behind him, 4 or 5 guards carried a big bed and walked in. An old man about 70 or 80 years old was lying on the bed. He was the president of the Azure Dragon Kingdom's Pharmacist Guild, Lu Xiaoyao. What was surprising was that the big bed was covered with a thick quilt at the moment. The quilt was covered with frost, and even Lu Xiaoyao's beard was covered with ice shards. Everything below his forehead had been frozen, and only his head was still intact. However, his face was livid. Although his eyes were open, his breath looked extremely weak, as if he would freeze to death at any time. Seeing Lu Xiaoyao's appearance, everyone's expression became dignified. Steward Li said, "Everyone who's going first." Everyone could see that Lu Xiaoyao's condition was not simple. They looked at each other and finally, Ling Huqiao braced himself and walked up. He first circled Lu Xiaoyao and then began to feel his pulse. However, Lu Xiaoyao's arm had been frozen with a thick layer of ice. He had to knock the ice off before he could put his finger on Lu Xiaoyao's pulse. As time passed, Ling Huqiao's expression became more and more serious. After feeling the pulse, he did not say anything. Instead, he frowned and hid to the side. It seemed that he was thinking about Lu Xiaoyao's condition. The second person to come forward was Su Nanzhong. His method of diagnosis was exactly the same as Ling Huqiao's. He first observed and then felt the pulse. However, after a while, Lu Xiaoyao's arm was frozen again. He had to knock the ice off again to feel the pulse. About half an hour later, more than a dozen doctors present had treated Lu Xiaoyao. Steward Li asked, "Everyone, do you have any good ideas?" Everyone's eyes focused on Ling Huqiao again. Ling Huqiao said, "According to my diagnosis just now, President Lu is not sick, but has suffered an extremely serious internal injury. The person who injured President Lu has a very high cultivation, at least at the Deshang stage. At the same time, he left an extremely cold genuine qi in President Lu's body. This kind of extremely cold genuine qi is too overbearing. It not only froze President Lu's body in meridians, but also his genuine qi. If it goes on like this, President Lu's whole body will be frozen into ice and die in less than 3 days." Steward Li had received too many famous doctors these days. Most of them gave such a diagnosis, so he didn't say anything after listening to it. "There's no problem with the diagnosis. Then Mr. Ling Hu, do you have any way to cure President Lu?" Ling Huqiao frowned and said, "With my many years of medical experience, there is a way to cure President Lu's internal injury. First, use the blood of a fire attribute magical beast to drive out the cold qi in the body. However, the level of this magical beast must be at least above the 8th rank, otherwise it will be ineffective. After getting rid of the cold qi, use other methods to repair the meridians that have been eroded by the cold qi in the body, so that he can recover as before." Hearing his treatment plan, Steward Li still looked calm. "Mr. Ling Hu, I'm asking you, can you cure him?" This. A flash of embarrassment flashed across Ling Huqiao's face. "I'm sorry, I can't do anything." He really only had the theory of treatment, but he had no means of treatment. Not to mention how difficult it was to find the blood of the 8th rank fire attribute magical beast, he couldn't even repair the injured meridians. According to the ancient records, the rejuvenative acupuncture could achieve this effect of reshaping the meridians, but he had only heard of this magical acupuncture method. He had never seen it for so many years, let alone used it. It's the same as not saying anything. Steward Li's tone was extremely dissatisfied. He turned his head and looked at Su Nanzhong. "Dr. Su, what do you think?" Su Nanzhong said, "My diagnosis is the same as Mr. Ling Hu's." Steward Li asked, "Just say whether you can cure him or not." Su Nanzhong's old face turned red. He lowered his head and said, "I'm incompetent. There is no way to cure him at present." Steward Li snorted coldly and turned his eyes to the next person. In this way, more than a dozen doctors asked one by one, but none of them could cure Lu Xiaoyao's disease. Looking at the dozens of dejected old men in front of her, Niu Tsuehua burst into laughter. "No wonder my husband said that you are useless. You are really useless. You talk so much, but you can't come up with any solution at the critical moment." Ling Huqiao said angrily, "Don't be sarcastic. We can't do anything about this disease. Do you think you can cure it?" Niu Tsuehua said, "Of course my husband can cure it." Ling Huqiao sneered and said, "You really dare to say anything? I'd like to see how you can cure the president today." "That's right. You are really boasting. Even we can't cure the disease. What can a child who hasn't even grown hair do? It's ridiculous. He doesn't even have the courage to diagnose the disease, but he says he can cure it." The other doctors were also talking about it. They all pointed their fingers at the calm Qin Haodong. Steward Li said politely, "Little magic doctor, please give President Lu a diagnosis. Qin Haodong said, I don't need to treat him. I already have the result. Steward Li said quickly, Little Magic Doctor, please listen to your advice. Qin Haodong said, Old man Ling Hu is right. President Lu is not sick, but injured by the extremely cold internal strength of a master in the Deshang stage. After he said that, the other doctors suddenly burst into laughter. This brat is really shameless. Is there any meaning in repeating what old Mr. Ling Hu said? Steward Li glared at the crowd and said sternly, Since no one can cure him, shut up. After stopping the crowd, he said to Qin Haodong again, Little Magic Doctor, is there any way to cure him? Of course there is. Qin Haodong said, First, use the blood of a magical beast with fire property to drive out the cold in the body, and then repair the meridians that have been eroded by the cold. In this way, President Lu can be completely cured. After he finished, although the others did not speak for the sake of Steward Li, they laughed again. Everyone knew what it meant. They were obviously laughing at Qin Haodong for copying Ling Hu Chao's diagnosis. There was also a flash of disappointment in Steward Li's eyes. Could it be that this little magic doctor just happened to cure his disease, and he could do nothing about President Lu's disease? Qin Haodong sneered, stood up and said, Do you think I'm imitating this old man? President Lu's disease is easy to diagnose, but difficult to treat. You can only see where the disease is, but there is no effective way to cure it. This is the difference between me and you good-for-nothings. A touch of joy immediately appeared on Steward Li's face. He asked hopefully, Little Magic Doctor, can you cure President Lu's disease? Chapter 997. Of course. Qin Haodong said without hesitation. That's impossible. It's impossible. We can't cure the disease. How can you say you can cure it? Ling Hu Chao was the first to jump out. The old man had always been very conceited. He thought that if he couldn't cure the disease, others couldn't either. Su Nanzhong followed and said, I think so. Let's not talk about your medical skills. I'm afraid you can't find the blood of an 8th grade magical beast with fire property. Qin Haodong said, You people are really ignorant. You always measure others with your own eyes. Butler Li ignored those people and said eagerly, Little Magic Doctor, please treat the president now. Ling Hu Chao cried, Butler Li, don't be fooled by this little liar. Dr. Su is right. Apart from medical skills, he can't even find the blood of an 8th grade magical beast with fire property. He was talking incessantly. Suddenly, with a bang, a huge fiery red magical beast appeared in front of him. It was the flame golden-eyed beast. As an 8th grade magical beast, the appearance of the flame golden-eyed beast brought a fiery aura. Ling Hu Chao was caught off guard and his beard was set on fire. He quickly stepped back and clumsily put out the flames on his beard. Then he looked at the big guy in front of him in disbelief. This is the flame golden-eyed beast? Oh my god, this guy really got a 8th grade magical beast with fire property? How is that possible? 8th grade magical beasts already have some spiritual wisdom. They have always been very arrogant and generally won't bow to their master. How did he find it? Qin Haodong's wife was a master in the Deshang stage, which was already very surprising. Now he had summoned an 8th grade magical beast with fire property, which completely refreshed everyone's cognition. To some extent, 8th grade magical beasts were rarer than masters in the Deshang stage. Su Nanzhong was even more shocked. He said with a shocked face, Impossible, it's impossible. Qin Haodong smiled slightly and said, It seems that Dr. Su still doesn't believe me. Then I'll make you believe me completely. Then he moved his mind again and summoned another flame golden-eyed beast from the spirit beast bag. It suddenly appeared in front of Su Nanzhong. This time the distance was even closer. Not only was Su Nanzhong's beard ignited, even his clothes were emitting black smoke. This made him look even more wretched than Ling Hu Chao. It took him a long time to put out the flames on his body. Everyone was so shocked that their mouths were agape. They had said that it was impossible to get the blood of an 8th tier fire-attributed magical beast, but in the end he had gotten 2 of them at once. At this moment, another doctor stepped forward and said, So what if you found an 8th rank fire attribute magical beast? Can it let you take blood? You must know that class 8 magical beasts are extremely high level. Even if you sign an equal contract with them, they won't let you harm them. It wasn't that this person was ignorant. It was because it was already very impressive for an ordinary cultivator to be able to sign an equal symbiotic contract with an 8th rank magical beast. No one had ever dared to think that they could sign a master-servant contract with such a huge difference in rank. Qin Haodong didn't say anything. He turned to the male flame golden-eyed beast and said, I need some blood. You're a man, so I'll take it from you. Holy sh*t, he even brought this. Isn't he courting death? Hearing what he said, everyone stepped back. They were afraid that the flame golden-eyed beast would burn them if it went crazy. But to everyone's surprise, the flame golden-eyed beast didn't show any dissatisfaction. On the contrary, it obediently stretched out its huge hoof, like a child waiting for blood. Qin Haodong first took out a glass bottle, and then cut a small cut on the flame golden-eyed beast's hoof with the Xianyuan sword. He took a small amount of blood and stopped the bleeding. Then he put it back into the spiritual beast bag. Seeing what he did, everyone was speechless. Not to mention whether he could cure the disease, they couldn't just take the blood of an 8th-rank fire attribute magical beast. Qin Haodong ignored these people. He came to the bed with the blood of the flame golden-eyed beast and removed all the clothes and quilts from Lu Xiaoyao's body. He poured out half of the flame golden-eyed beast's blood in his hand. The energy of the 8th-rank magical beast's blood was extremely strong. After it was poured out, it was like glue. He fed half of the blood to Lu Xiaoyao and then poured out the remaining half. He rubbed it gently in his palm, and the blood instantly turned into a cloud of blood mist. This cloud of blood mist covered the surface of Lu Xiaoyao's body as if it had a spirit, and then slowly seeped in. The fire attribute of the flame golden-eyed beast's blood was extremely strong. Now that it was taken orally and applied externally at the same time, Lu Xiaoyao soon showed obvious changes. The ice shell covering his body quickly melted, and his originally livid face slowly recovered its color. Even the surrounding temperature seemed to have risen by a few degrees. My young friend, thank you. Lu Xiaoyao, who had been lying on the bed, finally spoke. Although his injury had not healed, he had gotten rid of the cold, so he already had some strength. The happiest person was, of course, Butler Li. He knew his identity very well. With Lu Xiaoyao around, he could have unlimited glory as a butler. Once Lu Xiaoyao died, he would lose everything. He had always tried his best to cure Lu Xiaoyao's illness. He said excitedly, Little Magic Doctor, has the president recovered? It's still a long way off. Seeing Qin Haodong's trick, Ling Huchao's heart was filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. He said, getting rid of the cold is only the first step, but the president's meridians have been seriously damaged by the cold. If it can't be repaired, even if he survives, he will only be a useless person. Su Nanzhong said, Senior Ling Hu is right. According to my diagnosis just now, the meridians in President Lu's body are seriously damaged. It's very difficult to recover from this kind of injury. I'm afraid only the legendary rejuvenating acupuncture can do it. Ling Huchao said, but as far as I know, this kind of acupuncture has been lost for thousands of years and no one can do it now. So, President Lu's illness can't be cured by me and no one else can. After that, his old face showed a touch of relief, as if this kind of illness couldn't be cured by himself, and no one else could cure it, which was the best result. Qin Haodong completely ignored these people who talk big. He came to Lu Xiaoyao's bed, took out his needle bag and began to treat the disease with acupuncture. Ling Huchao's expression changed greatly and he shouted, Boy, what are you doing? Didn't you hear what I just said? Except for the rejuvenating acupuncture, no other methods can be used. It will only aggravate President Lu's injury. Su Nanzhong also said coldly, You will only hurt President Lu if you act recklessly like this. Stop it now, the others shouted one after another. Steward Li, stop him quickly. You will hurt President Lu. Hearing the noise around him, Steward Li also hesitated. He didn't know whether to believe these people or Qin Haodong. But at this moment, Ling Huchao stood there with a dull look. His eyes were fixed on Qin Haodong's hand as if he were possessed. He murmured, This? Is this the legendary rejuvenating acupuncture? Su Nanzhong, who was the closest to him, said, Impossible, how is this possible? The rejuvenating acupuncture has been lost for thousands of years. How could a young boy like him know this kind of acupuncture that defies the natural order? The others echoed him. No one thought that Qin Haodong could know this legendary acupuncture. Ling Huchao circled around Qin Haodong 3 times. After repeated confirmation, he shouted excitedly, It's really the rejuvenating acupuncture. I didn't see it wrong. I didn't expect that I would be lucky to see the rejuvenating acupuncture after living for so long. My life is really worthwhile. Among the doctors, Ling Huchao was undoubtedly the most respected one. Seeing that he was so sure, everyone put down their postures and began to pay attention to Qin Haodong's acupuncture. But before they could see it clearly, Qin Haodong had finished the acupuncture. Steward Li nervously stepped forward and asked, "Little magic doctor, how is my president's illness?" Qin Haodong said, "It's nothing. He will be fine in a while." Then none of the doctors next to them spoke and no one made any sarcastic remarks. If the young man in front of them was really proficient in the rejuvenating acupuncture, he was definitely not someone they could provoke. About 10 minutes later, Qin Haodong took back all the silver needles. Then he patted Lu Xiaoyao's chest with his palm and helped him relax his stiff limbs with greenwood genuine qi. "Okay, get up." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Xiaoyao, who was just dying, really sat up from the bed. He looked 100 times more energetic and had completely restored the demeanor of a master of the Deshang stage. My God, President Lu is really cured. It seems that this little brother really used the rejuvenating acupuncture, otherwise it would be impossible to cure such a serious injury. Frogs at the bottom of a well, it seems that we were really short-sighted before. This little brother is not an ordinary person. The doctors present were extremely shocked. They said that they could not get the blood of the 8th-ranked magical beast of the fire attribute, but he directly summoned two. They said that the rejuvenating acupuncture had been lost, but he had already used this set of acupuncture to cure Lu Xiaoyao's injury. In their opinion, it was impossible at all, but he had done it with a raise of his hand. In the midst of many discussions, Ling Huqiao was sluggish for a moment, then he strode in front of Qin Haodong and bowed deeply. "Little magic doctor, I have studied medicine for many years, but there is too much difference between me and you. I am indeed a waste. I have offended you before, please forgive me, little magic doctor." "What's going on?" The doctors around were stunned and their eyeballs fell to the ground. Although today's shock was greater than the previous one, they still couldn't accept it. Ling Huqiao, a leading figure in the medical world, publicly claimed that he was a waste and bowed his head to apologize to a young man. No one would believe it if they said it. Qin Haodong didn't care about these things. What he cared about was the reward of 10 low-grade immortal crystals. He waved his hand and said, "Let bygones be bygones. It's good to know that there is always someone better than you in the future." Yes. You are right, little magic doctor. In this world, some people were crazy about martial arts, some were crazy about love, and Ling Huqiao was a complete medical fanatic. The reason why he was arrogant before was that he looked down on Qin Haodong's medical skills. Once he found that Qin Haodong's medical skills surpassed his own, his attitude immediately became extremely respectful, like a humble primary school student asking for advice. "Little magic doctor, I have a presumptuous request. I don't know if I should say it or not." Qin Haodong said, "You know it's a presumptuous request, so don't say it." Ling Huqiao's old face turned red. He said with a red face, "Little magic doctor, no matter what, I have to say it. I want to worship you as my master and learn the rejuvenating acupuncture. I don't know if you can agree to it." Chapter 998. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I don't want to accept an old apprentice like you, and I don't have time to teach you." Ling Huqiao's face flashed with disappointment. At this time, Su Nanzhong stepped forward and said, "Little magic doctor, I'm relatively young. I wonder if you can accept me as your apprentice?" He also put down his pride. There was no other way. The temptation of the rejuvenative acupuncture was too strong for a doctor. No, you're too old." Qin Haodong didn't want to be followed by a group of old men wherever he went. Well, Su Nanzhong was young among many famous doctors. Even he couldn't do it, so the others were extremely disappointed. But at this moment, Qin Haodong said, "It's just the rejuvenative acupuncture. You can use it if you want. I can also teach you without being your apprentice." As a doctor, he would never be selfish. When he was on Earth, because other people didn't have genuine qi, they couldn't practice the rejuvenative acupuncture with qi. But it was different here. Every doctor was a cultivator, so it was suitable for them to learn this set of acupuncture. The more people who knew it, the more patients they could save. This was a good thing with boundless merit. With a thought, a needle book of the rejuvenative acupuncture appeared in his palm. He raised his hand and threw it to Ling Huqiao. "Take it, old man. Don't hide it when you go back. Everyone can learn it. The more people you save, the better." Ling Huqiao held the needle book in his hand and couldn't believe it was true. Generally speaking, no matter who got this kind of amazing acupuncture, they would treat it as a secret and wouldn't easily pass it on to others. Unexpectedly, the young man in front of them threw it out like throwing garbage. His generosity was beyond everyone's understanding. "Little magic doctor, this set of acupuncture is passed on to me just like this?" The old man's hands were trembling and he still couldn't believe it. It's not passed on to you. Anyone can learn it if they want. Not only everyone here but also any doctor in the Lingwu continent can learn it. We doctors treat patients and save people. The more people who learn this set of acupuncture, the more patients we can save. Little divine doctor, I thank you on behalf of all the people in the world. Linghu Chao held the acupuncture manual in his hand and fell to his knees with a thud. Little divine doctor, I really admire your magnanimity. Whether you admit it or not, I, Linghu Chao, will treat you like a disciple in the future. That's right, little divine doctor. In the future when I, Su Nanzhong, see you, I will also treat you like a disciple. Me too, little miracle doctor will be my teacher from now on. For a moment, these old men shook their gray beards, knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing to Qin Haodong. All right. If there's nothing else, you guys can leave. Qin Haodong waved his hand. Linghu Chao left Lu Xiaoyao's mansion with a group of old men in excitement. After they left, Lu Xiaoyao said to Qin Haodong again, Little magic doctor, thank you for saving my life this time. I can't say that I'm loyal. As a doctor, it's my duty to treat patients and save people. You still have to pay for the consultation fees. What Qin Haodong wanted most now were the 10 low-grade immortal crystals. After all, they were good things that could help him improve his cultivation. It's my duty. Lu Xiaoyao turned his head and said to Steward Li, Hurry up and bring all the low-grade immortal crystals in our mansion. Steward Li turned around and left. Soon he came back with an exquisite box. Lu Xiaoyao took the box and gave it to Qin Haodong. He said, Little brother, I've accumulated 15 immortal crystals over the years. Now I'll give them all to you. The reason why he was so generous was that he was really grateful to Qin Haodong. Secondly, he wanted to make friends with this young man with extraordinary medical skills. There were two kinds of people with the highest status in the Lingwu continent. One was an alchemist who could help people improve their cultivation, and the other was a doctor who could help people save their lives. No one was willing to miss the opportunity to make friends with a doctor, especially Lu Xiaoyao, who had been on the edge of life and death for a long time. He knew the value of a good doctor. Then I thank you, President Lu. Qin Haodong took the box excitedly. After opening it, there were indeed 15 low-grade immortal crystals in it. Together with the low-grade immortal crystal in his hand, there were a total of 16. He could try to break through the bottleneck of the Mahayana stage. He suddenly gave 5 low-grade immortal crystals, which made him have a good impression of the old man in front of him. He took out a dragon power pill and said, There is no such thing as an undeserved reward. This pill might be of some use to improve your cultivation. Although the dragon power pill couldn't improve the cultivation of a Mahayana stage powerhouse, it was still very beneficial for cultivation. This is the dragon power pill? As an 8th grade alchemist, Lu Xiaoyao naturally recognized the dragon power pill. He said, This is a good thing. I wanted to make a furnace of it before, but unfortunately I couldn't find the dragon's saliva. Where did the little miracle doctor get it from? I happen to have a spiritual beast with the bloodline of the dragon clan, so I refined this cauldron of pills. Lu Xiaoyao revealed a shocked expression. I really didn't expect that the little miracle doctor was already a 7th grade alchemist at such a young age. Heroes really come from the young. Qin Haodong didn't want to continue this topic. He asked, President Lu, what happened to your injuries? It's a long story. The little miracle doctor is my savior. I won't hide it from you. My injuries were caused by people from the Ghost King sect. Hearing that it was related to the Ghost King sect, Qin Haodong asked, President Lu, did you have a feud with the Ghost King sect? It's not a feud, but they wanted to steal something from me. Qin Haodong's heart moved. He asked, President Lu, don't tell me you also have a black demon bead? Lu Xiaoyao asked in surprise, the little miracle doctor also knows about the black demon bead? Qin Haodong nodded and said, I happen to hear some legends about the black demon bead. Lu Xiaoyao said, since the little miracle doctor also knows about it, then I'll be straightforward. My ancestors were from one of the 7 major families, and I happen to have a black demon bead that was passed down from my ancestors. Originally, this matter was extremely secretive. Even in my family, no one knew about it except for me, but I don't know how the Ghost King sect found out about it. When I went out to pick herbs a few days ago, I was attacked by the 5th elder and the 6th elder of the Ghost King sect, and I was injured like this. The 5th elder injured me with his ice palm in order to force me to hand over the black demon bead. For the common people of the Lingwu continent, I didn't give in. He Ziwei asked, then how did you escape? Lu Xiaoyao said, the Ghost King sect is powerful. The fifth elder and the sixth elder are both cultivators at the Deshang stage. I was seriously injured, so how could I escape? They let me come back. The people of the Ghost King sect naturally didn't have good intentions. The fifth elder thought that his ice palm was incurable, so his purpose was to make me despair and finally hand over the black demon bead. Unfortunately, they miscalculated. They didn't expect that there would be a miracle doctor like you in the world who cured my injury. Qin Haodong said, "Today is the 10th day, right?" Lu Xiaoyao said, "That's right. According to the agreement, it's today. I think the people of the Ghost King sect will be here soon. Little miracle doctor, I'm grateful to you for saving my life. I don't want you to get involved in this mess. You'd better leave." Qin Haodong said, "President Lu, what are your chances of winning against the people of the Ghost King sect?" "To be honest, I don't even have a 10% chance of winning. The fifth elder and the sixth elder of the Ghost King sect are both at the early stage of the Deshang stage, which is about the same as me. I can barely deal with one of them, but I have no chance of winning against two of them. However, the Ghost King sect is a threat to the world, and the black demon bead is something passed down from my ancestors that must be protected. I won't give it to them even if I die." A trace of loneliness flashed across Lu Xiaoyao's face. "If it was on a normal day, I could still invite some friends in Jianghu to help, but it's too late now. So, little miracle doctor, you should leave quickly. The people of the Ghost King sect have always been cruel and merciless. They won't let you go." Qin Haodong had a good impression of this old man, and he just took 5 more low-grade immortal crystals from him, so he decided to help him get through this difficulty. "President Lu, we have nowhere to go tonight. Let's stay in your house. If the people of the Ghost King sect come, we may be able to help." Lu Xiaoyao said, "Little miracle doctor, I appreciate your kindness, but I really can't. The Ghost King sect is too strong. You'd better leave as soon as possible." As he spoke, there was a sudden commotion outside the room, followed by roars, curses, and fighting sounds. However, the commotion soon ended, and then a low voice sounded in the whole house. "Old man Lu, you're not dead yet, right? The 10-day deadline is up. Hurry up and hand over the black demon bead." Lu Xiaoyao said with annoyance, "Little miracle doctor, it's too late for you to leave now. Remember what I said. Stay in the room and don't go out. Leave everything to me." After that, he rushed out with Steward Li and the others. Niu Tsuehua said, "Husband, do you want me to drive these people away?" Qin Haodong said, "This time is different from the last time. Even if you drive them away now, they will definitely come to trouble President Lu in the future." Niu Tsuehua said, "What do you want to do?" Qin Haodong said, "Do you mind if I kill these people of the Ghost King sect?" No matter what, Niu Tsuehua was the first elder of the Ghost King sect, so he had to consider her feelings before doing anything. Niu Tsuehua shook her head and said, "The Ghost King sect has always respected the strong, and there is no friendship between them. And these people wear masks all day long. I don't even know what they look like. If they die, they die. It has nothing to do with me." What she said was true. There were only 2 men in the world who could make her care. One was the man she loved the most, and the other was her brother, Li Tianxing, the master of the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong was worried that Niu Tsuehua would object, but he was immediately relieved after hearing what she said. "Since you don't object, then I'll kill all these people to avoid future troubles." Niu Tsuehua said, "Since you want to kill them, I'll do it for you." She was now at the middle stage of the Deshang realm, so it was not difficult for her to kill these 2 elders at the early stage of the Deshang realm. "Forget it, I'll do it myself." No matter what, Niu Tsuehua was the first elder of the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong didn't want her to deal with the people of the Ghost King sect unless it was absolutely necessary. After that, the 3 of them went to the window and looked outside. There were dozens of men in black standing in the courtyard outside the window, and the 2 leaders were wearing golden masks. One of them had 5 golden skulls embroidered on his cuffs, and the other had 6 golden skulls. They were the 5th and 6th elders of the Ghost King sect. At the same time, the guards, who had been heavily guarded, were either killed or injured, and there was a lot of wailing. This time, the people of the Ghost King sect were basically masters above the form synthesis stage, especially the 2 leading elders who had reached the Deshang stage. The difference in strength between the 2 sides was too great. After Lu Xiaoyao came out, he said angrily to the people of the Ghost King sect, "Stop." Chapter 999. The 5th and 6th elders were stunned when they saw Lu Xiaoyao. The 5th elder shouted, "Old man Lu, you're fine?" He was extremely confident in his ice palm. Even if Lu Xiaoyao did not die, he should be half dead. Why did he look fine now? Lu Xiaoyao sneered, "I'm very tough. Even if you die, I won't die." The fifth elder said with a gloomy expression, "Lu Xiaoyao, even if you find someone to cure the cold poison of the ice palm, so what? As long as the Ghost King sect wants you dead, we can kill you at any time." The sixth elder followed and said, "Yes, if you want to live, hand over the black demon bead now or you'll die." Lu Xiaoyao said, "I've already said that I don't know what the black demon bead is." The fifth elder gritted his teeth and said, "Old man, you really won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. This time I'll directly cut off your limbs and pick out your tendons. Let's see how arrogant you can be." After that, he moved and struck at Lu Xiaoyao with his palm. As a master of the Deshang stage, he could attract the qi of heaven and earth with just a lift of his hand. Coupled with his unique ice palm, the temperature in the entire courtyard seemed to drop by a few degrees. There were faint snowflakes floating in the air, which showed the strong coldness. Lu Xiaoyao knew that there was no way to retreat, so he also shouted and waved his palm to meet the attack. The two of them fought. After he reached the Deshang stage, he focused on refining elixirs, so his cultivation had not improved much and had been stagnant at the early stage of the Deshang stage for many years. The two of them were equal in power and were locked in a fight for a while. The sixth elder seemed to have lost his patience and shouted, "Old man Lu, I'll let you have a taste of ice and fire." After he finished speaking, he attacked Lu Xiaoyao from behind. Caretaker Li wanted to help, but unfortunately his cultivation was too low. Sixth elder merely waved his sleeves and sent him flying dozens of meters away. Caretaker Li lay on the ground and vomited blood. Fire palm. The sixth elder practiced a fire attribute cultivation method. As soon as he raised his hand, there was a raging fire, as if the air was ignited. The palm wind with a hot breath hit Lu Xiaoyao. Lu Xiaoyao could barely fight the fifth elder to a draw. If the sixth elder were to join the fray, then it would be certain death. However, at this moment, an even larger ball of flame suddenly appeared in front of the sixth elder. To be exact, it was a thick pillar of fire. It swept over like a huge fire dragon and instantly scattered his palm wind. The sixth elder was shocked. His cultivation base had reached the Deshang stage. In addition, he was proficient in the fire attribute cultivation method. For so many years, no one had ever been able to beat him in the flame. He retreated dozens of meters in a row. After he steadied himself, he saw a huge flaming beast standing in front of him. It was the flaming golden eyes beast. At the same time, the other fiery golden eyes beast had joined Lu Xiaoyao's battle. Of course, it was to help Lu Xiaoyao attack the fifth elder. Although the fifth elder was proficient in the cold attribute cultivation method and his cold ice palm was quite proficient, the little bit of cold air he released was useless in front of the flames of the blazing golden-eyed beast. Under the pincer attack of the man and the beast, the fifth elder was soon beaten into a mess. His clothes were burned black and purple and even his hair was burned off. The sixth elder didn't know where this magical beast came from. He wanted to help the fifth elder, but he was already entangled by the other fiery golden eyes beast. With his cultivation he could barely fight the fiery golden eyes beast to a draw. He had no advantage at all. The fifth elder's situation became more and more critical. He was accidentally burned by the flames spat out by the fiery golden eyes beast. He turned around and shouted to his subordinates, "What the hell are you doing? Hurry up and attack with me." They had brought 30 men in black with them this time, and each of them was at the form synthesis stage. They agreed and were about to attack the fiery golden eyes beast together. At the moment when the fifth elder was distracted, there was a muffled sound. A bloody hole as thick as an egg suddenly appeared on his right chest. He had been hiding in the room, waiting for an opportunity to snipe with the Barrett. The gun gave the fifth elder a fatal blow. The fifth elder was suddenly seriously injured before he figured out what was going on. Lu Xiaoyao was also a veteran. Although he was also surprised, he didn't let go of this opportunity. He immediately slapped the fifth elder's head. Last time he was hit by the frost palm, which almost killed him. So this time he attacked with all his strength without any mercy. With a bang, the fifth elder's head of the Ghost King sect was smashed like a rotten watermelon. Red and white matter splashed all over the ground. The fiery golden eyes beast then spat out a mouthful of flames, turning the fifth elder's body into a pile of ashes. The sixth elder was shocked. He realized that there were still masters hiding here. After the fifth elder died, his strength was reduced by half. He knew that he couldn't do anything. When he was about to escape with his subordinates, he heard two muffled sounds. His left and right kneecaps were smashed by the sniper rifle. The fiery golden eyes beast seemed to have a tacit understanding with its master. The moment Qin Haodong attacked, It raised its huge paw and stepped on the sixth elder. Then it spat out another mouthful of flames, burning the fifth elder into ashes. Seeing that the two leading elders were dead, the rest of the people of the Ghost King sect suddenly turned pale with fright. They lost the courage to continue fighting and ran away. Those who were too slow were killed by the fiery golden eyes beast's flames. After the battle, Qin Haodong walked out of the room. With a thought, he put the two fiery golden eyes beasts back into the spirit beast bag. Lu Xiaoyao wiped the sweat on his forehead. This time he had a narrow escape. Knowing that Qin Haodong had helped him, he came over and said gratefully, "Little magic doctor, thank you for your help. Otherwise we would have been finished." "You're welcome, President Lu. It's nothing." Suddenly, Qin Haodong's expression changed. His eyes fell on the pile of ashes that the fifth elder had been burned into. The flames spat out by the fiery golden eyes beast were extremely hot. They had almost reached the realm of congenital fire. After being burned, everything turned into ashes. Even the bones had been turned into powder. A breeze blew and the small amount of black ashes also scattered in the air, leaving only a black bead. He was very familiar with this bead. It was the black demon bead. It seemed that before they attacked Lu Xiaoyao, the fifth elder and the sixth elder had obtained a black demon bead from somewhere else. They had left it behind after being burned to death. Qin Haodong went over and picked up the black demon bead. It was indeed strange. It felt cold to the touch and there were no signs of it being burned. No wonder the seven great families could not destroy it no matter how hard they tried. It was indeed impervious to fire and water. Lu Xiaoyao came over and said, "It seems that this black demon bead was snatched from somewhere else by the Ghost King sect. Fortunately, it fell into the hands of the little magic doctor. If it fell into the hands of these harmful things, who knows what kind of heartless things they would do." Qin Haodong put the black demon bead away. "I'll keep it. As long as I'm here, the Ghost King sect will definitely not be able to get it." He was indeed confident. If he put the black demon bead in the seventh stage pagoda, no one would be able to snatch it away unless he took it out himself. I didn't expect the little magic doctor to not only have superb medical skills, but also have such a high cultivation. Lu Xiaoyao had clearly seen Qin Haodong kill the fifth elder and the sixth elder. Although he did not know what method Qin Haodong had used, being able to kill experts at the great vehicle stage was a demonstration of his strength. In addition, he had 2 rank 8 pet beasts. This kind of strength was something that he could only look up to. "Little magic doctor, I have a favor to ask." He took out a black demon bead and said, "It's not safe to leave this with me. Little magic doctor, can you help me take care of it? Don't let it fall into the hands of the Ghost King sect." Qin Haodong hesitated for a moment before saying, "All right then, as long as President Lu can trust me." "I can trust you, of course I can. The only person in this world that I can trust is the little magic doctor." Lu Xiaoyao had been an alchemist all his life, so he was very good at reading people. Just based on the fact that Qin Haodong did not take a single cent from them, and that he had given the rejuvenating needle to Ling Hu Chao and the others regardless of past enmity, Lu Xiaoyao's magnanimity were enough to convince him. It was precisely because of this that he was willing to take out the black demon bead. Qin Haodong reached out to take the black demon bead and put it into the seventh order pagoda. It was no different from herding 1 sheep or letting 2 sheep go. It would be a disaster if it was left in Lu Xiaoyao's hands, so it was better to just take it with him. After settling the matter here, everyone returned to the room. Lu Xiaoyao immediately arranged for someone to prepare rooms for Qin Haodong and the others and asked them to rest. After returning to the room, Qin Haodong said to Niu Tsuehua, "Why did the Ghost King sect go around snatching the black demon beads? What's their purpose?" He had always been puzzled about this. At first, he thought that the Ghost King sect had something to do with the alien demon, but he had tested Niu Tsuehua's bloodline and found that she was indeed a typical human without any alien demon blood. Otherwise, the two of them would not have been together. Niu Tsuehua said, "I'm not too sure about that. It was my brother who gave the order. I didn't ask him what he wanted to do specifically." Although she held the title of Great Elder in the Ghost King sect, she actually did not do much. Taking Qin Haodong away was one of the few things she did. Qin Haodong said, "Legend has it that the black demon bead is a treasure left behind by the alien demon. Gathering 7 black demon beads can awaken the Devil King underground and let the alien demon be reborn. This thing doesn't seem to have any other use. Why do you want it? Do you want to resurrect the Devil King? What good will it do to the Ghost King sect?" Niu Tsuehua shook her head and said, "I don't know about that. The Ghost King sect's affairs are all decided by my brother. I rarely ask." Qin Haodong said, Anyway, it's definitely not a good thing for the Ghost King sect to gather 7 black demon beads. I must stop them. Niu Tsuehua said, Husband, it seems that you have a lot of opinions about the Ghost King sect. In any case, Li Tianxing, the sect master of the Ghost King sect, was also her brother. She did not want the two of them to become enemies. Qin Haodong said, I don't have much hatred for the Ghost King sect. It was the Ghost King sect who took the initiative to find trouble with me. However, I am enemies with the alien demon, so I must not let the Devil King be resurrected. This was indeed his idea. Once the Devil King was resurrected, he might open a space channel with the Earth. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Niu Tsuehua said, As far as I know, my brother and I are pure human beings. We have nothing to do with the alien demon beads. I don't think he wants to resurrect the Devil King. The next morning, Qin Haodong had just gotten up and found that Lu Xiaoyao was already waiting in front of the door. He asked in surprise, President Lu, what's the matter? Chapter 1000. Lu Xiaoyao said, Little magic doctor, this old man wants to ask you for help. Qin Haodong said, President Lu, just tell me what you need. I'll do my best to help as long as I can. Lu Xiaoyao said, It's like this, young divine doctor. To the north of the Azure Dragon City, there is a Sky Thunder Mountain. Many years ago, I passed by there while gathering herbs and accidentally found a legendary Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. Earth Vein Spirit Fruit? Qin Haodong's expression changed greatly. As a medical sage, it was impossible for him not to know this kind of elixir. Legend had it that as long as a human or a spirit beast took the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, they could quickly awaken their bloodline power. However, he had only read about this kind of elixir in ancient books and had never seen the real thing. Lu Xiaoyao said, Yes, it's this kind of elixir. This old man has been following it for many years. In a few days the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit will ripen and be picked. This old man has been stagnant in the Deshang stage for a long time and my cultivation has not advanced even an inch. As long as I get an Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, I can refine the 8th rank elixir, the Life Vein Pill. By then, I can use the Life Vein Pill to advance to the Deshang stage. Qin Haodong was also moved upon hearing this elixir. Although his 3-legged golden toad had the dragon bloodline, it was very difficult for it to continue to evolve. The little witch had now stabilized her holy spirit body and every time she summoned a 7th rank magical beast. If the 3-legged golden toad wanted to advance, devouring a 7th rank magical beast would have little effect. If he could get an Earth Vein Spirit Fruit at this time, it could quickly enhance its bloodline power and grow into a 8th rank spirit beast, which was equivalent to improving his own strength. Although he was happy, he also knew that things would not be so simple. Since Lu Xiaoyao said he had something to ask, it was certainly not to just hand over the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. As expected, Lu Xiaoyao continued, Since ancient times the treasures of heaven and earth have been guarded by spirit beasts. The one guarding this Earth Vein Spirit Fruit is a 8th rank spirit beast, the Earth Bear. This kind of monster is strong enough to rival a mid-stage Deshang stage powerhouse. Moreover, it has been guarding the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit and will devour it as soon as it ripens. So if you want to get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, it's not an exaggeration to say that it's snatching food from a tiger's mouth. Qin Haodong said, Do you mean that you want me to help you get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit? That was indeed what Lu Xiaoyao meant. He hadn't thought of asking Qin Haodong for help before. It was only after seeing Qin Haodong's strength last night that he had such an idea. If he wanted to defeat the Earth Bear alone in the early Deshang stage, the possibility of getting the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit was almost zero. With the help of Qin Haodong, there was a bit more possibility. He said, Little brother, that's exactly what I meant, but I won't ask you to help me for free. When the Earth Bear went out to hunt, I once observed this Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. There are a total of 5 fruits on it. When the time comes, this old man will only need one to refine a pill. The remaining 4 will all belong to little brother. Qin Haodong said, President Lu, why didn't you bring back the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit if you had the chance? He had only heard of the effects of the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, but he didn't know much about it. Lu Xiaoyao shook his head and said, After this old man saw the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, I checked many ancient books and knew that this kind of spiritual thing is born from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It's impossible to transplant it. If you can't take the whole Earth Vein Spirit Fruit away, it's useless to pick the fruit alone, because the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit has no medicinal effect before it matures, and it's useless to eat it. It's precisely because of this that the Earth Bear has been waiting for the fruit to mature. Qin Haodong nodded and asked, How long until the earth vein spirit fruit matures? Lu Xiaoyao said, there are still 3 days. Qin Haodong said, well, let's go and have a look now. He had already made up his mind to get the earth vein spirit fruit. This thing was too important to him. First, it could help the 3-legged golden toad to advance to the 8th rank. Second, if the little witch took it, she might be able to make the Holy Spirit body awaken for the 3rd time. The little witch was almost invincible among the 7th rank. Once she could become an 8th rank summoner, that kind of strength would be simply unimaginable. Seeing that Qin Haodong agreed to help, Lu Xiaoyao was overjoyed and said, great! Little magic doctor, let's get ready and set off immediately. Qin Haodong went back and told Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei about this matter, and the 2 girls naturally had no objection. After breakfast, the 3 left the little Azure Dragon City with Lu Xiaoyao and rushed toward the Sky Thunder Mountain. The Sky Thunder Mountain was not too far from the little Azure Dragon City, and they arrived at their destination near noon. Lu Xiaoyao pointed to the front and said, our destination is 10 miles ahead. The Earth Bear is an 8th rank magical beast, and it's very sensitive. We must be careful and try to hide our breath, or it'll be troublesome if it finds us. Qin Haodong and the other 2 nodded and walked forward with Lu Xiaoyao. In front of them was an empty valley with no end in sight. At the edge of the valley was a huge cave, and the earth vein spirit fruit grew in this cave. But when Qin Haodong and the others arrived at the cave, they found that there were already many people gathered here. Obviously, these people also came for the earth vein spirit fruit. Lu Xiaoyao was also stunned as he didn't expect this secret to be known by others. After observing these people from afar, he said, oh no, these are the people of the Azure Dragon royal family. If it was other ordinary martial artists, they might have a chance to fight for it, but it was difficult to deal with the Azure Dragon royal family. After all, no one in the Azure Dragon Kingdom dared to provoke the Azure Dragon royal family. Niu Cuihua said with disdain, what's so great about the Azure Dragon royal family? The earth vein spirit fruit is a treasure of heaven and earth, and it wasn't planted by them. Lu Xiaoyao said, young lady, it's true, but we really can't afford to offend the Azure Dragon royal family. He Ziwei said, are we just going to give up like this? Lu Xiaoyao said, let's go over and discuss and see if we can work together. If the Azure Dragon royal family refuses, we can only give up. Qin Haodong was quite understanding. After all, the Alchemist Union was under the eyes of the Azure Dragon royal family, and they had to be responsible for the hundreds of alchemists under them. He stopped Niu Cuihua, who was about to say something, and said, let's do as President Lu said and see if we can work together. Lu Xiaoyao nodded and led the group forward. They had only taken a few steps when a dozen palace guards came to greet them. These people were obviously hand-picked elites, and every one of them had a cultivation above the form synthesis realm. Stop, what are you guys doing? A guard leader called out. This old man is Lu Xiaoyao of the Alchemist Union. May I ask who's in charge here? Hearing that the other party was the president of the Alchemist Union, the guard leader's expression immediately eased up and said, it's His Highness the Eldest Prince. Lu Xiaoyao said, can you help me inform him that Lu Xiaoyao is here to see the Eldest Prince? President Lu, please wait a moment. After the guard leader finished speaking, he turned and entered the camp. Not long after, a young man around 30 years old walked out. This person was dressed magnificently and had an imposing aura. He was the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, Li Zhen. After seeing Lu Xiaoyao, he went forward and said, President Lu, why are you here? Lu Xiaoyao said, I've been observing this earth vein spirit fruit for a long time and wanted to try my luck today. I didn't expect to meet His Highness the Eldest Prince. Li Zhen said, President Lu, since you've been paying attention for a long time, you must know that this place is guarded by the Earth Bear. Although the earth vein spirit fruit is good, you won't be able to get it. Please leave. Lu Xiaoyao said, His Highness the Eldest Prince, can we work together? There are a total of 5 fruits in this earth vein spirit fruit. We only need 2. A trace of contempt flashed across Li Zhen's face. President Lu, our Azure Dragon royal family can obtain this earth vein spirit fruit with our own strength. There's really no need to work with you. Previously, he was polite to Lu Xiaoyao on account of the Alchemist Union's president. However, this politeness was only on the surface. Once it involved actual benefits, it wouldn't do. Lu Xiaoyao had been staring at it for a long time. He was still unwilling to just give up. As if seeing through his thoughts, Li Zhen continued, President Lu, to be honest, my younger sister is injured and urgently needs this earth vein spirit fruit to heal her. Moreover, our Azure Dragon royal family has sent a middle-stage Great Ascension Realm and 2 early-stage Great Ascension Realm cultivators. There's no need to work with anyone. Hearing that the other party was so powerful, Lu Xiaoyao sighed. It seemed like he could only give up. His Highness the Eldest Prince, I'll take my leave now. Li Zhen said, President Lu, take care. Qin Haodong stopped Niu Cuihua again and left the valley with Lu Xiaoyao. After they were far away from the Azure Dragon royal family, Lu Xiaoyao said apologetically, Little Miracle Doctor, I'm really sorry for making you come here for nothing. However, the situation has changed and I can't do anything about it. Qin Haodong said, It's all right. After all, it's the Azure Dragon royal family. We can't afford to offend them. Lu Xiaoyao smiled apologetically and said, I wonder what the Little Miracle Doctor's next step is? Why don't you stay at our little Azure Dragon city for a few days? Qin Haodong said, We appreciate President Lu's kindness. Since we can't get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, we don't want to stay here anymore. We want to go to the Azure Dragon Royal City. Alright then. Little Miracle Doctor, we'll meet again if fate allows it. Lu Xiaoyao said goodbye to them and flew towards the little Azure Dragon city. After he left, Niu Cuihua said, Husband, are we just going to give up like this? Of course not. We have to get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. Qin Haodong said, But the president is from the Alchemist Union after all. It's not good for him to do it. It's better for us to do it ourselves. Niu Cuihua said excitedly, That's right. The Azure Dragon royal family is Bulsh *T. Let's go and kill them all now. By then the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit will be ours. She was originally fearless. Plus, she already had a feud with the Azure Dragon royal family, so she didn't care at all. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, We can't do it by force. Didn't you hear that they have a middle-stage great vehicle expert and 2 early-stage great vehicle experts? Niu Cuihua said, What's so great about that? Leave the middle-stage great vehicle expert to me and the flaming golden eyes beast. I don't believe we can't kill them. That won't work. Fighting with force is always the worst strategy. Even if we win in the end, it will be a Pyrrhic victory. Maybe both sides will be hurt. The Earth Vein Spirit Fruit is a treasure of heaven and earth. Who knows how many people will be eyeing it? Now that the Azure Dragon royal family has appeared, who knows if there will be other masters playing with them? Qin Haodong was very clear about the strength of both sides. Compared to them, his side was still at a disadvantage. After all, Niu Cuihua had just stepped into the middle stage great vehicle. There was definitely a gap between her and the other side's experienced middle-stage great vehicle experts. His sniper rifle was useless against middle-stage great vehicle experts. Niu Cuihua said, The Azure Dragon royal family is waiting there. How can we get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit if we don't kill them? Chapter 1001. Not to mention that we are not strong enough. Even if we kill them, we may not be able to get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. Qin Haodong said, The Earth Bear is a rank 8 magical beast, and its strength is comparable to the strong in the middle Dashang stage. If it stays in the cave and swallows the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit after it ripens, there's really nothing we can do. He Ziwei asked, Then what should we do? Qin Haodong said, Don't worry, there will always be a way. After all, there are still 3 days. Let's take a look at these people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom first. They came prepared, maybe they have a way to deal with the Bear of Earth. Niu Cuihua asked, Then what should we do? Qin Haodong said, Wait a minute. I'll go and find out the situation when it gets dark. We'll act according to the circumstances. Niu Cuihua said, No, it's too dangerous for you to go alone. I want to go with you. He Ziwei added, Me too. I want to go with you. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, It's not easy to hide when there are more people. The other party has a master in the middle Dashang stage. If it's not good, it will be discovered. At that time, all the work will be wasted. Niu Cuihua said, But we are worried about you going alone. Qin Haodong said, I have a way. You two hide in the 7th Order Pagoda first. Once I'm in danger, I'll immediately summon you to help. This way it's convenient for us to conceal ourselves and ensure our strength. It's the best way. Niu Cuihua thought about it and said, That's a good idea, but you have to promise me that if there's any danger, you have to let me out. Don't worry. If it's an emergency, I'll ask for your help. After their discussion, the 3 of them entered the 7th level pagoda and rested for a while. After the sky turned dark, Qin Haodong exited the 7th tier pagoda, used another invisibility talisman, and quietly made his way to the Azure Dragon royal family's camp. He was extremely careful along the way. After all, the other party had a master in the middle Dashang stage. Although the invisibility talisman could conceal one's aura, one could not use a large amount of true qi. Otherwise, it would be easy to be discovered by the other party. He carefully passed through the guards at the edge of the camp and slowly came inside. In the middle of the camp, there was a large golden tent, which should be where First Prince Li Zhen was staying. He quietly came to the back of the tent and slowly released his primordial spirit to investigate the situation inside. There were a total of 3 people in the tent. One of them was a sickly woman lying on the bed. Her face was pale and she looked extremely weak. It was the second princess Li Mengyao who had escaped from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Seeing her situation, Qin Haodong immediately understood. It seemed that the talisman could save her life? It wasn't for nothing. He had extracted a large amount of Li Mengyao's essence blood, which was why he was so weak. Beside Li Mengyao stood the eldest prince Li Zhen and another old man with white hair and beard. Li Zhen said, "Mengyao, don't worry. When I get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, not only will your body recover, it will also improve." "Thank you, big brother." Li Mengyao's eyes flashed with hatred. She clenched her teeth and said, "Big brother, no matter what, you have to help me get rid of that Qin brat. It's all because of him that I'm like this now." Li Zhen's expression was sinister as he said, "Don't worry. Since he dares to go against the Azure Dragon royal family, I will tear him into pieces sooner or later." The white-haired old man said, "The most important thing now is to get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. By then, not only can we replenish the energy that the second princess has lost, but we can also help the eldest prince reach the early stage of the Great Ascension realm." Speaking of this, Li Mengyao said worriedly, "Big brother, I heard that there is an earth bear guarding the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. Do we have a way to get it?" "Don't worry. No matter how powerful that thing is, it is just a beast. How can it defeat us?" Li Zhen said, "Elder Wang and Elder Li Tianxiong are from the same sect and are both proficient in the dragon trap formation. He has already set up a formation in front of the cave. As long as we lure the earth bear out, we can trap it there. By then the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit will be ours." As the second princess of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, Li Mengyao knew a little about these things. She said, "But the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit is about to ripen. The Earth Bear has been guarding there all this time. How can it come out?" Elder Wang's name was Wang Minghai. He smiled proudly and took out a long black incense. He said, "Second princess, this is the beast saliva incense that I carefully refined." Qin Haodong looked at the incense in his hand and saw that it was completely different from ordinary incense. The surface was covered with dark green patterns that looked like the scales of a fish. "Elder Wang, what is the use of this beast saliva incense?" Wang Minghai said proudly, "This thing is refined from the scales of 5 high-level spirit beasts. It has a special aroma and is especially tempting to the earth bear. Also, this incense has its own special feature. After it is lit, the incense can move according to the mind of the person who lit it and choose any direction." Li Mengyao asked doubtfully, "Is this thing really that magical?" Wang Minghai said, "Of course. Soon the second princess will see its effect." He said to Lu Zhen, "Your Highness, when do we start?" Lu Zhen said, "Elder Wang is an expert in this. When do you think is the right time?" Wang Minghai said, "According to my experience, now is the right time." Li Mengyao said, "Isn't it early?" "There are still more than 2 days before the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit ripens. Your Highness, you don't understand this." Wang Minghai said, "Although the beast saliva incense is very tempting to the earth bear, if we wait until the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit ripens, I'm afraid it will be difficult to lure it out. After reaching the 8th rank, the magical beasts basically have a certain level of intelligence. It knows that no one can take the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, so it is willing to come out. If we wait for another day or 2, I'm afraid it won't come out even if we put the dragon meat here." Lu Zhen nodded and said, "Elder Wang is right. Let's do as you say." After that, the 3 of them walked out of the tent and came to the cave where the earth bear lived. Qin Haodong followed them secretly. At this time, he had already felt the faint fluctuation of spiritual power in front of the cave. It should be the hidden dragon formation that had been set up long ago. Wang Minghai and the other 2 came to the edge of the hidden dragon formation and stood there. They flicked out a Dan fire and lit the beast saliva incense in their hands. The incense was indeed strange. After it was lit, the fragrance floated straight up into the sky like a straight line and didn't dissipate for a long time. Then, under the control of Wang Haiming's mind, it immediately drilled into the cave where the earth bear lived like a spirit snake. Qin Haodong's spirit was unusually strong. When he swept into the cave, he saw a big bear the size of a small mountain squatting in the cave. This big brown bear was the Earth Bear, an 8th-rank magical beast with super strong defense. In front of it was a small pond, and in the middle of the pond was a small green tree. There were 5 bright red fruits hanging on the tree, and they looked very attractive. These were the Earth Vein Spirit fruits. However, these Earth Vein Spirit fruits weren't completely red yet. Some places were still green. When they were completely red, they would truly ripen, and then they would become the Earth Vein Spirit fruits that could enhance the power of bloodline. The Earth Bear was originally lying quietly by the pool, staring at the Earth Vein Spirit fruits without blinking. At this moment, the fragrance of the beastly fragrance floated in from outside. After smelling this fragrance, the Earth Bear suddenly sat up and sniffed hard. In an instant, saliva flowed down from the corner of its mouth. It was obvious that this thing was very tempting to it. It looked at the Earth Vein Spirit fruits in the pool and sniffed the fragrance in its mouth. Its face actually showed a conflicted expression similar to that of a human. It wanted to go out and find the source of the fragrance, but it was reluctant to part with the Earth Vein Spirit fruits in front of it. It walked around the cave a few times, and finally, as if it had made up its mind, it walked step by step towards the entrance of the cave. This guy was huge and had amazing strength. Every step it took felt like the earth was shaking. Li Zhen and the others were guarding outside the cave. When they felt the shaking of the earth, their faces revealed a look of surprise. Since there was movement, it meant that the Earth Bear had been tempted by the beastly fragrance and was ready to come out. As long as this guy entered the dragon-laying trap formation, it would completely become a meat on their chopping board. They could deal with it however they wanted. They hid together behind a huge rock, and Wang Minghai kept activating the fragrance of the beastly fragrance. At the same time, Li Zhen ordered the experts brought by the Azure Dragon royal family to hide as well. After a moment, the huge body of the Earth Bear appeared at the entrance of the cave. As it drooled, its 2 small black eyes looked at the opposite side. Then it lifted its huge soul and walked step by step towards the dragon-laying trap formation. Wang Minghai and the other 2's faces flashed with excitement. It was obvious that this magical beast was going to fall for it. But at this moment, the Earth Bear suddenly stopped in its tracks. It sharply glanced in front of it, then lifted its huge soul and stomped hard on the ground. After becoming a rank 8 magical beast, it already had a certain level of spiritual intelligence. Moreover, the Earth Bear was different from the blazing golden eyes beast. It was an Earth attribute magical beast and was more sensitive to the energy changes in the ground. Although Wang Minghai's method of setting up the dragon-laying trap formation was brilliant, he still couldn't hide the energy fluctuations and was seen by the Earth Bear. After it stomped down, the huge energy quickly turned the ground over. The array board and array flags buried underground were all dug out and turned into a pile of powder. Oh no, this beast actually knows how to break the formation. Wang Minghai was shocked. He didn't expect that his painstaking preparation would be ruined by this Earth Bear's stomp. In fact, he didn't think it through. To deal with this kind of Earth attribute magical beast, there might be a chance of success if he changed the method. After a successful move, the Earth Bear actually showed a human-like smile at the corner of his mouth, and then he strode over here. Li Mingyao said to Li Zhen nervously, "Big brother, what should we do? What are you afraid of? We brought so many experts, can't we trap a bear?" Although Li Zhen's expression was cold, as the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom and the future heir to the throne, he didn't panic too much. "Elder Wang, gather people immediately. No matter what, we have to trap this Earth Bear outside the cave until we get the Earth Vein Spirit fruit." This time they used quite a lot of strength. Wang Minghai was a middle-stage great vehicle expert and there were 2 other early-stage great vehicle experts. Although the 3 of them couldn't kill the Earth Bear, they could still stop it outside the cave. "Yes, Your Royal Highness." Wang Minghai responded and let out a sharp whistle. The experts of the Azure Dragon royal family who were hiding in the surroundings pounced on the Earth Bear. He himself went around the boulder and cut off the Earth Bear's retreat. Qin Haodong saw all this and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. A good opportunity had come. He switched to another invisibility talisman and then quietly sneaked into the cave. Chapter 1002. Li Zhen and Li Mingyao had been watching the battle from the sidelines and were not in a hurry to enter the cave. Since the Earth Bear could come out, it meant that there was still some time before the Earth Vein Spirit fruit ripened. Even if they entered the cave now, they would not be able to pick it. On the contrary, it would arouse the beast's ferocious nature, making it difficult to control. The Earth Bear did not care about the oncoming crowd and continued to walk towards the boulder while drooling. When it came to the back of the boulder, it realized that the source of the fragrance was actually a stick of incense. It knew that it had been tricked and immediately let out an earth-shattering roar and smashed the incense with a slap. Even so, it seemed that it could not vent the anger in the earth bear's heart, and it slapped the boulder in front of it again. With a loud bang, the boulder, which was originally nearly 100 tons in weight, was smashed into pieces by this guy's slap. The broken pieces flew around like raindrops. Roar! The earth bear already had a certain level of spiritual intelligence. As if it knew the purpose of being tricked, it ignored the crowd and strode towards the cave. Li Zhen shouted from the side, "Hurry up and stop it. We cannot let this beast return to the cave no matter what." With the power of the earth bear, if it guarded the cave, they would not be able to attack it no matter what. When the earth vein spirit fruit ripened, it would definitely be eaten by this guy. By then, even the gods would not be able to snatch it back. After hearing the first prince's order, the Azure Dragon royal family brought nearly 100 guards with a shout. They took out the bows and arrows on their backs and shot at the earth bear. Although their bows and arrows were not as good as the god-killing arrows, they were still meticulously made by the royal family. In addition, these guards were at least at the form synthesis stage. Every arrow that was shot out carried great power. For a moment, the sharp sound of the arrows tearing through the air was heard and shot towards the earth bear like raindrops. But this guy did not care about it at all. It only looked at them with contempt and walked straight towards the cave entrance. These arrows were shot accurately at the earth bear, but everyone was surprised to find that the steel arrows could not penetrate its seemingly soft fur. One by one, they all broke into two halves and fell to the ground with a crackling sound. Among the 8th grade magical beasts, the earth bear had two characteristics. First, it had an amazing defense, and second, it was extremely strong. Not to mention this kind of ordinary bow and arrow, even a god-killing arrow couldn't do anything to it. Seeing that the arrows had lost their effectiveness, Li Zhen once again shouted to his men, "Go, we must stop it." The guards put away their bows, drew out their weapons and rushed towards the earth bear. A late body integration stage guard swung his saber down viciously toward the bear's head. This guy didn't dodge at all. When the saber struck its head, it was as if it had struck steel. Unexpectedly, the sound of metal clashing rang out. Then the earth bear swung its huge front paw and slapped the guard away. The force of the slap was so great that the guard was turned into a pile of minced meat the moment he was hit. He crashed into a mountain rock and completely turned into a pile of minced meat. It was impossible to tell that he was still human. Through this attack, the earth bear seemed to have been stimulated. After a howl, it rushed to the crowd. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people died under its claws. Li Zhen and Li Mingyao's expression changed. This guy's strength was too strong. At this time, Wang Minghai shouted, "Those below the Great Ascension stage, retreat to the side to help. You are not its opponent." After hearing the shout, the guards all retreated. After all, everyone only had one life. The big guy in front of them was too fierce. At this time, a figure wearing a black robe rushed to the earth bear and raised his hand to slap its head. The earth bear still didn't dodge and slapped its paw back. The black robe man was another early stage Great Ascension stage expert of the Azure Dragon royal family. Naturally, he was much more flexible than the other guards. After the slap, he quickly retreated using the recoil force and dodged the earth bear's paw. Although he wasn't injured, this slap did not have much effect. Hitting the earth bear's body was like scratching an itch. On the other side, another early stage Great Ascension stage expert inserted a sword into the back of the earth bear's head. Although the sword in his hand was not a great weapon like the Shenyuan sword, it was absolutely sharp. It was a treasure sword, but it still had no effect on the earth bear. It couldn't even break the basic defense. The earth bear casually clawed, and the early stage Great Ascension stage expert was shocked and flew dozens of meters away. Seeing that this guy was so fierce, everyone's eyes showed a look of horror. They couldn't break the defense at all. With such a strong attack power, how could they fight this battle? At this time, Wang Minghai made a move. The sword in his hand made a whistling sound. Like a swimming dragon, it fiercely stabbed the triangular region under the earth bear's neck. The experienced people knew that this was the location of the earth bear's heart. It could be said to be a vital part. He was a master in the middle stage of the Great Ascension stage. His strength was far higher than the others. The earth bear seemed to feel the power of this sword. It no longer ignored it as before. Instead, it raised its paw and slapped the sword. Only to hear a snapping sound, Wang Minghai's long sword stabbed the earth bear's hoof claw. This time it finally broke through the defense and brought out a line of blood on the earth bear's claw. Under the strong shock, Wang Minghai was also shaken out dozens of meters. His wrist was numb and the sword almost fell to the ground. Although the claw of the earth bear was pierced, it was only a very shallow wound. Moreover, this guy's defense and self-healing ability were amazing. In the blink of an eye, the wound had healed itself. What the hell, how can we fight like this? It's not easy to make a little injury, but it healed in the blink of an eye. Li Zhen was stunned. Fortunately, their purpose was not to kill the earth bear. They just wanted to drag it outside the cave and wait for 2 days to go in and pick the earth vein spirit fruit. After the earth bear was injured, it seemed to enter a state of rage. For so many years, no one had been able to make it bleed. In extreme anger, this guy seemed to forget the earth vein spirit fruit in the cave, and rushed madly toward Wang Minghai. Although Wang Minghai was also in the middle stage of the Deshang stage, he did not dare to confront the earth bear in a state of rage. He could only adopt a wandering tactic. The angry earth bear could knock down a forest with a casual wave of its hand, and blow up a small mountain with a punch. In this state, even the 2 people in the early stage of the Deshang stage did not dare to come forward to help. Qin Haodong ignored the battle outside and sneaked into the cave alone. This was the territory of the earth bear. Other creatures did not dare to enter on weekdays. He came to the front of the pool unimpeded. Looking at the 5 earth vein spirit fruits on the small tree, Qin Haodong felt a burst of joy. With this thing, not only could he make the 3-legged golden toad advance, but he could also make the little witch's holy spirit body awaken for the 3rd time. He crossed the pool and came to the earth vein spirit fruit. For ordinary people, this kind of earth vein spirit fruit must wait for 3 days to ripen, but he was different. He was the Greenwood Emperor. Although the earth vein spirit fruit was magical, it was also one of the plants of the wood attribute. Qin Haodong pointed at the root of the earth vein spirit fruit and slowly injected the Greenwood genuine qi. Then a strange scene appeared. The small tree in front of him quickly grew a few centimeters, and then the 5 fruits on the tree grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. The red place was getting bigger and bigger. It only took a few minutes for them to be ripe. After the earth vein spirit fruit was ripe, it quickly emitted a refreshing fragrance, which made people feel comfortable all over. It's done. Qin Haodong shouted in his heart and raised his hand to collect all the 5 earth vein spirit fruits. He did not pay attention to the small tree of the earth vein spirit fruit. This kind of spiritual thing must be kept. After a few years, the earth vein spirit fruit would be picked again. After he succeeded, he did not stop. He quickly rushed to the cave entrance and left in the blink of an eye. Outside the cave, the earth bear was in a state of madness. A series of crazy attacks made Wang Minghai very embarrassed. Wang Minghai secretly complained in his heart. According to this situation, it was really hard to say whether he could hold the earth bear for 2 days. This guy was too fierce. Not only did it have inexhaustible strength, but its defense was also super strong. He could not cause substantial damage to it at all. At this moment, the earth bear suddenly stopped waving its claws. It first sniffed hard, then ignored Wang Minghai and rushed to the cave. After guarding the earth vein spirit fruit for so many years, it naturally knew the smell of the fruit when it was ripe. He did not know why it smelled the fragrance of the earth vein spirit fruit just now. This made the earth bear no longer calm. The reason why it dared to stay here unscrupulously was that the earth vein spirit fruit was not ripe. If it was not ripe, it would be of no value to others and would not be picked up. But now it was different. The earth vein spirit fruit exuded a ripe fragrance. It must go back and swallow it as soon as possible so it would be safe. Seeing the earth bear rushing madly to the cave, Wang Minghai did not come back to his senses for a while, and the other 2 guards in the early Deshang stage rushed to stop it. However, their strength was still relatively weak, and they were all sent flying by the earth bear with a slap. They fell to the ground and vomited mouthfuls of blood. Seeing the power of the earth bear, the other guards stood aside and did not dare to come forward. Even the early Deshang stage was not its opponent. If they came over, they would only be sending food. In such a delay, the earth bear had already rushed into the cave. It came to the pool at the fastest speed, but found that there was only a bare tree left. The earth vein spirit fruit that had been guarded for many years was gone, and the surrounding air was still filled with the faint fragrance of the earth vein spirit fruit after it was ripe. This time the earth bear was completely furious. It had guarded it for so many years, but in the blink of an eye, it was picked up by others, which made it completely fall into a state of madness. It must be those despicable humans outside. They lured me out, and it must be their accomplices who stole my earth vein spirit fruit. The earth bear, who already had spiritual wisdom, put this black pot firmly on the heads of Li Zhen and others. Since it identified the murderer, it must take revenge. It turned its head and rushed out of the cave. Chapter 1003. The earth bear suddenly went into the cave, which made Li Zhen and the others at a loss for a while. Li Mengyao said, "What happened? Why did the bear suddenly run back?" Wang Minghai said, "I just smelled a fragrance, it seems that the earth vein spirit fruit is ripe." Li Zhen's expression changed. "It ripened so quickly? Didn't they say it would take more than 2 days?" Wang Minghai said, "I'm not sure about that, but looking at the earth bear, it should be the result." Li Zhen shouted, "Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and grab it, at least get 1 earth vein spirit fruit. Whoever can grab the earth vein spirit fruit, this king will reward him with 2 low-grade immortal crystals." This was definitely a big reward, whether it was for Wang Minghai or the other guards. 2 low-grade immortal crystals was enough to make them fight for their lives. As the saying goes, under a big reward there will be brave men. These people roared and rushed into the cave. Who knew that when they just arrived at the cave entrance, they would run into the earth bear? An angry earth bear was much more powerful than a tank. It was not something these people could contend with at all. More than a dozen guards who rushed in front had their bones broken, including an early Mahayana realm guard, whose sternum was directly broken by the earth bear. After falling to the ground, it stepped on him fiercely, turning him into a meat paste. Everyone hurriedly retreated. In such an encounter, a total of more than 20 people were killed or injured. The earth bear's anger was not vented at all. It roared again and rushed towards Wang Minghai and the others. Li Zhen and Li Mengyao stood next to them, seeing the earth bear leave the cave. Still so angry, they were extremely puzzled. "Big brother, what's going on? Why did the earth bear suddenly go crazy?" Li Zhen also looked inexplicable. "I don't know, let's go in and see now." He pulled Li Mengyao. The two sneaked into the cave and walked inside. The cave of the earth bear was very simple. Soon they came to the side of the pool and saw the lonely small tree inside. Li Mengyao said, "Big brother, is this the earth vein spirit fruit?" Li Zhen said with a calm face, "Yes, this is the tree of the earth vein spirit fruit, but the fruit on it is gone." "Where is the fruit? Could it have been eaten by the earth bear?" Li Zhen shook his head and said, "Definitely not. If the earth bear ate the fruit, it wouldn't be so angry. It must have lost the earth vein spirit fruit and thought that we stole it, so it crazily retaliated against us." Li Mengyao said in surprise, "What's going on? We didn't get the earth vein spirit fruit and we didn't eat the earth bear either. Is there a third person here?" Li Zhen frowned and said, "Normally speaking, this isn't possible. Only our Azure Dragon royal family came here. Furthermore, we have been keeping an eye on the cave entrance and no one has entered. How could there be other people?" Li Mengyao said, "But how could the earth vein spirit fruit be lost?" Li Zhen's expression suddenly changed. "Could it be they stole the earth vein spirit fruit? Who is it? Could it be that someone else has been here?" Li Zhen said, "A few hours ago the president of the Azure Dragon Kingdom's Alchemist Association, Lu Xiaoyao, brought 3 people here. Initially they wanted to cooperate with me to snatch the earth vein spirit fruit, but I rejected them. Could it be that they didn't leave, but secretly stole the earth vein spirit fruit?" Li Mengyao also knew Lu Xiaoyao. She said, "That's not very possible. Lu Xiaoyao is only in the early stages of Great Ascension realm. It's impossible for him to steal the earth vein spirit fruit under the eyes of us and the earth bear. No matter what, we have failed this time. Let's leave this place first. Otherwise it will be troublesome when the earth bear returns." With that said, the 2 of them hurriedly left the place. Outside the cave, the Azure Dragon Kingdom's guards were locked in a fierce battle with the earth bear. The enraged earth bear grabbed another Great Ascension realm guard and sat on his butt, turning him into meat paste. Wang Minghai also found an opportunity to stab his long sword into the earth bear's chest. It was a pity that the earth bear's defense was too strong. The treasured sword only managed to stab about 2 inches in before stopping. His arm was torn off by the earth bear's claws. Seeing his men being beaten up so miserably, Li Zhen shouted, "The earth vein spirit fruit has been lost. Everyone, don't continue fighting. Hurry and retreat." Hearing the order of the eldest prince, the guards immediately fled in all directions as if they had heard the sound of nature. Although the earth bear was powerful, its only flaw was that it could not fly. Seeing that everyone had flown into the sky, it could only vent its anger on the surrounding rocks and trees on the ground. Wang Minghai lost an arm and his face was pale. After simply dealing with the injury, he said to Li Zhen, "Your Royal Highness, what the hell is going on?" "I don't know. In short, the earth vein spirit fruit in the cave has been picked by someone." Wang Minghai said in surprise, "How is this possible? There is only one entrance to the cave. We have been guarding here all this time. How could someone get in? Who would have known? If I find out who did it, I'll cut him into 1,000 pieces. Li Zhen was furious. He had led his men to fight with the earth bear outside, but the fruit was picked by someone else. This kind of depression made him want to vomit blood. This time, he had come here with a middle-stage Mahayana realm and 2 early-stage Mahayana realm experts. In the end, 2 died and 1 was injured. It would have been worth it if they had gotten the earth vein spirit fruit, but they got nothing. With such a huge loss, even if he was the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, he would inevitably be punished when he returned. Qin Haodong left the cave and entered the 7th-stage pagoda. When he returned, the 2 girls were already waiting impatiently. Husband, you're finally back. I was so worried. Niu Tsuehua pulled Qin Haodong and said, How are you? Are you hurt? He Ziwei did not speak, but her eyes were full of concern. No, I'm fine. Qin Haodong smiled at the 2 girls. Niu Tsuehua then asked, How was it? Did you get the earth vein spirit fruit? Here it is. Qin Haodong turned his wrist and 5 bright red earth vein spirit fruits appeared in his palm. The entire 7th-stage pagoda was filled with a rich fragrance. So beautiful. He Ziwei held one of the earth vein spirit fruits in her hand and played with it fondly. This thing looked more like a gem than anything else. Niu Tsuehua also grabbed one and said, This fruit smells so good. Can I have one? She pretended to take a bite as she spoke. Qin Haodong hurriedly said, No way. Niu Tsuehua pouted and said, Stingy? There are 5 of them. What's the big deal about giving one to me and Sister Ziwei? Qin Haodong smiled bitterly and said, This is not a matter of being stingy. You're not a magical beast. If you directly swallow an earth vein spirit fruit, your body will explode and you will die. Compared to magical beasts, the human body and meridians were much weaker. It had to be refined into pills before it could be consumed. If it was directly consumed, not only would it not have any effect, it would also cost one's life. Alright then. I'll return it to you first. Niu Tsuehua placed the earth vein spirit fruit back in Qin Haodong's hand and said, How did you get this? Qin Haodong told her what had happened from beginning to end. In the end he said, Fortunately the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom came. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to lure the earth bear out, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything. Niu Tsuehua smiled and said, The people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom are really stupid. They fought so hard outside but it turns out that they helped you a lot. He Ziwei smiled and said, How are they now? Do they know that the earth vein spirit fruit has been lost? Qin Haodong said, When I came out the earth bear had already found out that something was wrong. I guess it's looking for trouble now. After saying that, he summoned the 3-legged golden toad with his mind. It was attracted by the earth vein spirit fruit in Qin Haodong's hand as soon as it came out. Its eyes showed a greedy look, and its big head kept rubbing against Qin Haodong's leg. It's no use trying to please me. I can only give you one. Whether it can improve your bloodline depends on you. Qin Haodong threw an earth vein spirit fruit to it. The 3-legged golden toad rolled its big tongue and swallowed it directly. Niu Tsuehua said, Magical beasts are lucky. They can eat it whenever they want. I don't know if this fruit will work. As soon as she finished speaking, the 3-legged golden toad flopped on the ground and fell into a deep sleep. Qin Haodong said, It seems to work. When it wakes up, it should be a magical beast of the 8th rank. After saying that, he put the 3-legged golden toad back into the spirit beast bag. He Ziwei asked, When are we going back? Qin Haodong said, Don't worry. I'll refine a furnace of pulse refining pills for you to improve your cultivation and then we'll go out. Niu Tsuehua said, You're only at the form synthesis stage now. Can you refine 8th grade pills? Do me a favor. You can try it. Qin Haodong's attainments in alchemy were no problem. What he lacked now was cultivation. But after last time's cross-body transfer, he thought he could ask Niu Tsuehua to help him try. He took out the Shinong cauldron and sat cross-legged. He let Niu Tsuehua sit behind him, put his right hand on the Mingmen acupoint on his back, and slowly transferred genuine qi. He could now use Niu Tsuehua's genuine qi to temporarily improve his cultivation to the early stage of the Deshang realm, but this was only temporary. As long as Niu Tsuehua withdrew her hand, he would immediately return to the original level, which was still at the form synthesis stage. Moreover, this kind of cross-body transfer consumed a lot of Niu Tsuehua's energy, so she couldn't hold on for too long. He first threw the earth vein spirit fruit into the Shinong cauldron, then took out the corresponding pills of pulse refining pills and threw them in one by one to refine. About an hour later, a strong fragrance of pills floated out, and then 7 red pulse refining pills flew out of the Shenong cauldron and fell into the jade bottle in Qin Haodong's hand. It's done. Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief and his forehead was covered with sweat. Just now, with the help of Niu Tsuehua's genuine qi, it consumed a lot of his spiritual force. He took out 2 pulse refining pills and gave one to Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei. Try it and see how it works. The 2 of them swallowed the pills and began to cultivate to improve their cultivation. Time passed by, and about an hour later, He Ziwei was the first to break through, and she crossed 2 thresholds in succession, directly reaching the peak of the form synthesis stage. After her, Niu Tsuehua's aura suddenly soared, reaching the late stage of the Deshang realm. Both of them successfully broke through. After hesitating for a moment, Qin Haodong also took out a low-grade immortal crystal and began to break through the bottleneck of the Deshang realm. When he was in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom, a low-grade immortal crystal allowed him to enter the middle stage of the form synthesis stage from the early stage. Now that he had 16 low-grade immortal crystals, he should be able to succeed. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.